Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Graham or Graham Crackers and welcome to the channel. It is so lovely to have you all here in the audience. I'm sending love from my seat right here. You may be wondering, what are we doing tonight? Great question. Tonight we are playing once more. We are resuming the Goldshine Investigations, a homebrew D&D 5e campaign DM'd by the one, the only Matt, featuring all these lovely cast members that I have wrangled from various corners of the internet. But, although all of their accolades precede them, I would love to have them all tell you about themselves and who they're playing tonight. So I guess I'll start with me, because I tried to pawn it off and I've been called out. My name is Graham, and I'm playing Gaheris Nervos Blackmont, the Tiefling Oath of Conquest Paladin. Whoever wants it, balls up.
I mean, I think it's up to me. I'm just wondering, are we live? Because on the thing, it doesn't look like we are.
We are definitely live.
Okay.
I think
just several minutes. It
shows as being live.
Just on the stream, it's usually live by now if we're live.
I literally cannot transition us from the window we are on, which is live. I do see that we have dropped a lot of frames, so maybe that's the delay.
I just reloaded the page and it's still showing a stream starting soon. Hey folks, can you hear us or see us? Hey everybody in chat.
Hey-o,
please send help. Okay, if I transition this, okay, and then I go live, and then I hit transition, it shows that my live screen is still...
I would love to intro myself, it just kind of looks like we're not live.
I don't know.
I could be wrong.
I am literally watching I'm watching the Twitch now, waiting for it to switch, because on Streamlabs we have switched. And Streamlabs is how I base everything. That is what dictates when we switch.
Wow.
Tech issues. BRB. Actually, you know what? Watch the screen and tell me if it switches to a be right back. I wonder if it's the packet loss. Dropped frames detected. 65% over the last 2 minutes. Ooh.
Jesus.
What if I do this? Am I on Wi-Fi 2? I'm on Wi-Fi... Am I on Wi-Fi 2 or Wi-Fi 1? I'm on Wi-Fi 2. But if I disconnect...
Oh, it's transitioned us on
wow.
my end.
Yeah, it now... no. Wow, the delay. But I guess it doesn't matter, because literally we are just putting on a D&D game where we don't interact with the audience anyways.
Don't say that, they can hear you.
I mean, we interact when they donate points, but outside of that,
well, it's
we
really
interact with
glad
each other.
It's really wonderful to hear that we are in fact live, so I suppose I can introduce myself if you'd like.
Yeah, let me transition. In 6 minutes, you will be back. We will have your face, but yeah, intro yourself now.
Sure. Hey guys, good to be back. Been a couple weeks. I'm Pharaoh. I will be playing Utaka, the Water Genasi, cleric rogue of 2 gods and many crises. And off to out hunting who ain't here, which is typically Kari, who plays Israel, the warlock, Pact of the Archfey. However, as she is not here, we will pass it off to Derek.
It's me. Hi everybody, I'm Derek Sword. I'm playing Griaz Bramblepelt, the bugbear druid rogue, who's ready to get back to his swamp. And yeah, to reiterate something Pharaoh said, I'm excited to be back. It's been a couple of weeks. Stuff has changed, hopefully for the better for everybody out there, but we're glad to have you back, and we're glad to be here. Tech issues and delay notwithstanding. And I will, all that said, pass it off to the lovely, the one and only, the effervescent Jeremy.
You flatter me every week, Derek, and it touches my heart. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy, also known as Dane Darkstride to some, and I will be playing Iran Blackmont, brother to Gaheris Nervos Blackmont, the Protector Asimar Oath of Devotion Paladin. And I'm just excited to be here with all these lovely people once again, and you. Now, without further ado, I will pass it off to our wonderful DM, Matt.
That's me. Hi, I'm Matt, your DM, and I will be playing everyone else. So, are we ready to resume the Goldshine
No,
Investigations?
Matt, please tell me what happened. I forgot and lost my notes. I don't remember what we were doing. Could you give me a little heads up? I remember throwing hands at a lot of people.
Very true. When we last left off, the party continued their slowly individualizing machinations in the Village of Ground, which the party has discovered was essentially organized from nothing by the Fishburne family's pact with the demon Ashtar, who basically organized it that powerful or well-to-do people would move into the area and create a noble territory out of whole cloth. Um, After some thefts, some sabotages, some machinations, the party has soured their relations with the noble lord, who, while he is grateful for the help, has, at least for the time being, requested that they leave, as the party has been instigating fights with the staff and are still at least suspected of causing some of the recent problems, some of which are actually their fault. That being said, the party has elected to leave ground and start continuing their main objective of saving Griez's homeland from from joining the northern and southern swamps from the grisly fate of becoming a lifeless salt flat, subject to a strange arcane ritual. That being said, the party has also demonstrated an interest in getting in contact with one Kenny Caldwell, who has not been seen in several months since vanishing across the Lake of Mazai to the other side of the continent. However, as the one seemingly sociable member of an otherwise antisocial group of cultists, the party seems interested in getting into contact with him, as possibly giving them some perspective on who the Children of Red Sight are and what their motivations and goals actually happen to be. So, with the Black Swamp on the horizon, whether that be through crossing the lake or taking the long road to save people along the way, um, the party has, from the sounds of it, some calls they'd like to make, a trip they hope to plan, and hopefully more political relations to not sour. That being said, if I recall correctly, you guys awaken the next morning. You are not attacked by vampires in the night. Griaz and Gaheris keeping an ample watch and patrol. And I believe we had cut off with you guys already gathering for breakfast. Um, so, assuming that is correct, as Gaheris, you return from your lengthy patrol, um, and all of you begin to gather. Uh, Israel getting their usual dosage of brown morning potion, and getting the usual free breakfast that the party gets for their duration of their stay in ground. What would you guys like to do?
Well, the first thing that I am going to do is get some delicious food, and perhaps I am going to set the table for the rest of my companions, and they probably come down very quick, and all my bags are packed. Nadine is outside. I'm ready to leave this town.
Okay. Does anyone have any particular things they would like to do? Or would you like to simply join Gaharis in gathering your things and making your way out of ground?
Yeah, I think Ron will join his brother for breakfast rather solidly, because if I remember correctly, he was grumpy. But he's reluctant, but he's eating his breakfast, and he has Yao and Lauren all packed up and ready to go.
Okay. Grias?
Yeah, so Gria spent the night on the roof, shotgun in hand, just kind of, waiting. But yeah, he did switch out with, was it Evron or Kaharis?
Gaharis.
Kaharis switched out with him. Yeah. So he did get some rest, but he's ready to get out of Dodge at this point.
Right.
So he's packed up his stuff, and barring anyone else saying they need anything around here, he's ready to go.
Okay. And Utaka?
Well, I ain't no pussy bitch, so I guess, ready to leave? But look, I might not be meeting anyone in the eye, because I'm a little upset. Hey, it's your boy.
Okay. All right. Gaharis, you start divvying out breakfast. You all, sans Utaka, begin to come downstairs one by one, ready to have breakfast. Gaharis, from the looks of it, Griaz, Israel, and Ivron's bags are already packed. The mood is somber and somewhat sour, and you don't see any sign of Utaka. But that being said, is there any business you guys would like to conduct in town? What's going to be the plan of action?
I have a question, Matt.
What is your question?
So
I might
the
have an answer.
ceremony spell, right? One of them is funeral rite. You touch one corpse, and for the next 7 days, the target can't become undead by any means short of a wish spell.
Mhm.
Do undead already classify as corpses?
It says that they can't become undead, so I'd say that it just
okay.
wouldn't do anything.
Hey, a swing and a miss, it's okay.
Yeah. I'd say if it was phrased as like they can't be an undead, that'd be one thing. But
then you go in
yeah.
stasis for 7 days, come back.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say it won't do anything. Sorry.
Hey, no worries. I didn't think it was. I just was reading it and thought it was hilarious. If I remember, we intended to message Tails.
Right.
Yeah, we were gonna call him, whatever.
As well as Kenley Goldwell.
Yeah. Sure. Y'all wanna fucking do that?
I think we may get the answers. I looked at Ivron.
I
don't
told
look
you
at
earlier
it,
this
bro.
morning, brother. I'm following your lead. I don't think Ibron met Caldwell. I think everyone else did, but Ibron just went to the chase to find Utaka. So he's on the fence about all this, but he's following Gaharis' lead.
That's right, you were having a heart-to-heart with Mistra.
Yeah. So.
Because we were being mean to her.
Yeah.
Feel free to send a sending spell to Kenley. I don't suppose it could hurt. Does
And
it
we
seem
just want to,
reasonable?
like, talk to him, right? That's all.
That is correct. Perhaps say, hey, we would like to talk. Could you meet us somewhere? Or is there a place?
Maybe we should give him a place for us to meet that might
Well,
be on our terms rather than
aren't we
his.
about to fucking teleport somewhere? So what sort of place are we gonna be like, hey, meet us at the fucking Black Swamp? Except didn't he like go across the lake and then head out that way towards like, other areas? So I don't fucking know if he's gonna be by the fucking Black Swamp.
How about we give him a week and we meet him in Velport?
All right. Aren't there like guards looking for people in that cult in Veilbright?
Not only that, but a ton of GSIA that would love to string
Yeah,
him up. I
that
don't think
don't
that's.
seem like neutral ground.
Why don't you determine where he is, and we can best plan from there.
Alright. I'm gonna do that. Okay. I will cast a sending spell. Hey, Kenny. It's Utaka. Been a while. Hope you're not dead. So, can we, like, talk or something? Where are you? We can meet up. My friends want to see you. Bye. That's 25.
To your surprise, you actually get a response almost immediately. Whether that's simply them being used to this sort of magic or something else, you're not sure. But you do get a quick response. Well, it's an odd coincidence, isn't it? I was hoping to get a hold of you guys myself. I have a offer to make. And there's a pause, but you know the spell has not completely worn off yet. So you imagine he's just thinking. And you do know he's approaching the limit of the spell's word count himself, and he seems to know that. But eventually, after a moment, he continues. In Zidane.
Alright, so. Listen up. He wants to meet us. He's in Zidane, wherever the fuck that is.
Does everyone know where that is on any of the maps that he has?
I'll say you actually are aware of that. Specifically, Zidane was mentioned in one of the case files you were given. Zidane is one of the cities that went completely dark. Nobody knows what happened to it. Just nobody in that city has been responding to messages over the past few weeks. And I will also note for your benefit, Ivron, on that topic, that you know that Zidane is very close to the Arrowhead Desert, where Mistra suspected Caldwell was hiding out, as the desert has currently become a tundra over the past month or so.
Well, Utaka said all that, right? That he's.
Yeah.
Zidane is close to the desert, as we expected, but all the other GSIA operatives have gone dark. It could be a trap.
Yeah, fucking obviously. Yeah, it could be. And we, like, thought he'd be there anyway. Like, that was the conversation. We were talking about the desert. But
Is it on
I don't
the
know.
way,
I guess
Matt?
this is what we
Like, is it-
expected, right?
Expecting to be easy.
I suppose. How far is Zidane from the swamp?
Zidane is actually, if you were to go on foot and not take the boat across the lake, Zidane would actually be on the way to the swamp if you were to go on foot.
It's on the way. If we want to take the long way around, that is.
What, so like,
I'm not
hike
sh-
for a week?
I'm not sure that's the best the best thing that we could do. We wasted quite enough time here on ground, and I fear for the Black Swamp.
You know, if it's on the way there, it's also on the way back.
This is true. Would we be able to maybe have him meet us at the swamp again? Home turf advantage, Reyes. I'm not sure
You want me to ask him?
I'm for meeting. If you're not expending too much strength.
I mean, I can like expend more strength. I'm pretty fucking great, so I got, more to expend.
Then by all means.
Alright. Okay, sending to Kenny Caldwell. Hey, it's Utaka again. So Zaidan's kind of near the Black Swamp. You want to meet us there? We're gonna be there soon. Yeah, cool. Let me know.
You do this so often. How are you still this bad at it?
Utaga discovered the existence of the word count limit and immediately became super self-conscious about it.
I want to point out 2 of those words that I counted were
Right. Hey, I'm just saying, in transcription services, it counts.
There's actually a bit of a pause this time, but you do eventually get a response. Someone like me is not exactly going to be welcome in the Black Swamp, but I can meet you outside Azar, but no closer. Lots of gold if you come. Promise.
Okay, so they're gonna like pay us if we meet them outside of Zar? Say something about like not going in the swamp because it's not good for them?
Did
Ain't
it
good for nobody.
sound like they are luring us out there to kill us?
I mean, why? Maybe. I mean, they're offering like gold. I guess, do you offer gold to someone you're gonna kill? Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is
okay.
a literal trap. There is bait. It is a baited trap.
Yeah, okay, so maybe they're gonna kill us. I don't fucking know.
Did you get any sense in their words? That there was ill intent?
Nah, I thought more like it sounded like they want to recruit us.
I look at
Because the
everyone.
first message I sent them, he was like, hey, I was thinking of you too. We should talk. So, like, I could ask him again. You want me to ask him if they want to kill us?
I don't think he would necessarily answer, honestly. I think bottom line is, one way or another, we were probably going to end up going to Zadar anyway, because it's gone dark. So, we might as well
have
just
to get
go on
him.
out there.
We could ask Tails to drop us there instead, or do we want to drop in the swamp and then go back there?
I think doing this one first is the most pressing matter, and then we can go meet some.
Indeed.
Alright. You want me to give him a time limit? Like at when we'll be there or nah?
Nah, do a
How
power
far
move, you
is
can
it
wait.
from there, Griaz? You fucking know. You grew up there, yeah?
No, I did not, but that's
Oh.
fine. I haven't really explained it. No, I lived in the swamp for a period of time as more of a I don't want to exist as a normal being anymore kind of thing. But no,
Oh, you ran away to like go to a fucking swamp?
I didn't run nowhere. All right. First thing out of the
Well,
way.
okay, so but you didn't grow up there.
Do I believe
No.
that? Is my question.
Make an insight check.
I'd love
For my
to.
benefit. You can message me if you don't want to give it away. Are you lying?
He is kind of lying. Yeah,
15
there was
plus
a level
3?
of running into it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just tell me what you want me to know. I rolled an 18 total.
I think Gaharis is able to piece together that, hey, Kriaz did some murders. Kriaz lived in the swamp. Kriaz was a smuggler. Kriaz became a druid. There is a certain part of like stopped being a rogue, started becoming a druid. There is a level of running that has to be involved there.
Okay. I will.
No, I never went to Zinar, none of that shit. I messed around the outskirts of cities. I didn't go
Alright,
into
but you don't
cities.
fucking know how far away it was? Like, weren't you, like, smuggling or some shit? Isn't smuggling, like, part of, like, knowing how far runners take?
I mean, not if you work a
Dude, I
single
was
route.
smuggling. How
What
far
were
would it be
you
now?
smuggling?
And one more time, Grace.
I said, how far would it be?
Yeah, trying to find the little measuring thing I need. Because I actually do have it pulled up. I just need to find the thing that'll let me measure it. There we go. Assuming you're at the center of the Black Swamp, getting to Azar on foot would take you about 5 days.
So, a little less than a week.
Despite our friend's dubious past and whether or not he was running, he did ask for our help. This means something to him, so we should get
Yeah.
there as soon as possible.
Yeah,
Dan
like,
Caldwell.
I
You could care
wanna-
less what his offer is.
oh. Okay. Like, I wanna help you, Griaz. I wasn't saying I didn't want to. You know, I didn't say
I know.
that.
I
didn't say
didn't mean
that.
to snap at you. I didn't.
Okay, like, as long as we're not, like, mad at each other. Anyway,
I know what you did.
so do you want me to, like, tell him we'll meet him, like, within, like, 2 weeks? Or, like, a month? Like, what do you think?
Tell him that he can just sit on his
You-
hands and wait. Power move.
Okay.
3 weeks maybe.
Yeah.
Not to
Sufficient?
mention, we don't know how long we're going to be there, and you can send to him almost instantly. Yes, so when
Yeah,
we're
you want me to,
done,
like,
We also
harass
have,
him every
like,
day or
teleportation
something?
services
What about
now.
if we say, we'll be in touch? And just
There
leave
you
it at
go.
that.
our people call your people?
Yeah.
Because we
We will
could be
let you
there
know
But
when we are
am
at.
does that make me our people?
Well,
Am I our people?
Our spells will be in touch with your spells.
But they're my spells.
Sure are.
Alright. Okay.
However,
I'm
you
gonna
are the
cast
word.
sending.
You are the wordsmith in this situation.
I'm
Let's see what you
casting
got.
sending to Kenny Caldwell.
All right.
Hey, it's Utaka.
Great start.
yes.
Great start. Just staring like into his eyes. Just, keep going.
Stay where you are. We'll be in touch.
Chilling. Chilled to the bone.
So I
And-
see.
Is that the end of your sending?
He hears a couple, like, soft laughs, and then it ends. Yeah.
It's just for the rest
You-
of the
Tug
words.
is using up the rest of the word count.
Just to laugh at his own joke. Yeah.
You get a
Like when
response.
the answering machine doesn't cut off in time, and just like Becky. Becky, I'm on the phone. No, I didn't answer. Yeah, pizza's good.
And Utaka, you get a response very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got chills. Sure. Offer still stands. Should be good for a while. I'll tell my boys to leave you be. Just say you're with me, and they'll show you where I'm hiding out.
Okay, so, like, apparently he's in a gang, because he's got boys that we gotta, like, tell them that we're with him.
Is
Uh,
it a gang or is siblings or sons?
I don't know. Like, all he said was, yeah, okay, like, offer's good for a while, but, like, when we get there, we gotta tell his boys that we're with him. And let me fucking tell you, I'm from, like, the streets of fucking Phrygia. That's a gang.
Do they all dress alike?
Do you want? I can cast sending one more time. Do you want me to ask him?
I think Ibron's gonna get up and start walking out to just tighten the saddle on Yao or something. He's prepared. He's like, I'm leaving this situation.
It's all right. All
Fair,
right.
fair. I will join. Just, only a few things that you won't need that spell later, or a equivalent spell.
Are we gonna like kill a bunch of people today?
Maybe.
Utaka, I don't wake up every morning thinking, today I choose violence. It is a case-by-case basis,
But you
typically.
do anyway.
But it does not mean there were not other options on the table.
But you don't choose them.
I didn't kill all the poachers.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So we're going, right? We're like going by foot?
I mean, I suppose we could have Tails teleport us to the swamp. Save us a few days.
That's what I'm saying. We
With...
literally have like free teleportation services whenever we want.
And he already said that he could.
Okay,
Yesterday.
so you want me to message Tails?
Yes, please.
Alright.
We saved one sending.
I'm gonna cast sending to Dr. Tails.
All right.
Hey, Dr. Tails, it's Utaka. We need to go to the Black Swamp. Can you, like, come soon? That'd be real fucking convenient. Okay. Thanks, bye.
Almost immediately, Tails appears in front of you, and again, that like weird sensation of when he talks, you're hearing it through the sending spell and from his voice in front of you. But knowing that you'll hear him either way, he kind of gives you a nod, Griaz, and uses one of his mage hands to kind of hold the door open so that Harris and Ivron, the two of you outside, getting the saddles together, can participate in the conversation. And he kind of, he smiles a little bit, like, bemusedly, and is the impression you've all gotten of me that I'm a teleportation service to taxi you around Mazai?
Well, why do you, like, come every time we ask, then? Like, if you're
Yeah.
not gonna do that, like, have, like, some, like, mystique and be like, no, sorry, I'm busy doing really important magic shit. And then, like, come, like,
You
10
either gotta
minutes
say
later.
no, or you gotta charge us, or otherwise, yeah, you are our older brother's friend with a wagon who's going to take us down to the convenience
We can, like,
store, you know
pay.
what I mean?
Do you want us to pay? No, I don't want to pay. Actually, sorry,
No,
I
why would
didn't.
you
I
say
didn't
that?
say anything.
How
We don't
about
have any
this?
money.
The faster we get through the Black Swamp, the faster we can approach a lead on Kenny Caldwell.
From the sounds of it, you already have a rather useful lead, do you not?
That is what I'm saying.
Sorry,
the faster
what?
we solve...
What sound? Sorry, what sound of what?
He kind of taps the side of his head with one of his mage hands, and
Yeah, what does that mean?
He's a divination wizard. I think he already knows what we're doing.
Shut up. What does that mean?
I'm afraid I don't understand the question if you understand the nature of my abilities.
From the sound of what?
That conversation you had 2 minutes ago now with Mr. Kenny Caldwell.
So you know every fucking conversation I have?
Not have, will have.
Always rude.
It gets better over time.
Oh, that's fun, isn't it, Utaka? You get better over time.
Nevertheless,
He's speechless.
Tails, if it's not an inconvenience for you, we don't want to intrude.
It's less of an inconvenience to me. It's rather simple, actually, but...
Wait, so if he knows that I'm always going to be this rude or less rude, then he knows he's always going to come when we ask him to come?
Indeed. I told you before, I'm following the script, for lack of a better term.
So I can keep calling him for transportation. That's great. Thanks, dude. You're the
That's
best.
a verbal contract right there.
Yeah.
Was
I
there
agree
a
to
learning
nothing.
lesson in this conversation said that we were supposed to take out the physicist? It sounds like you took a stand on a hill and then immediately ran down the hill, joined our army, and ran back up the hill.
I was merely clarifying that for all of the abilities I possess, this is what you choose to ask of me. I simply found it rather
Wait,
amusing.
what else should we be asking you to do?
While you of course know that I wouldn't give you the answer, most people who find out what I can do
Okay.
ask me if I can tell them when they're going to die, or where their enemies are hiding out, or
When am
things
I
of that
gonna
nature.
die?
If nothing else, this conversation is taking as long as it would to walk to the Black Swamp. So I guess
That's
it's
not true.
That is entirely true. I'm gonna go grab Nathan right now.
No, that's not
Perhaps
true.
we shouldn't
Seth,
look a gift horse in the mouth.
am I the
I'll
only one that can count? Like among the like four of us? Because I can count to at least 25.
I was simply going to clarify that I am more than capable of transporting you as requested, and I'm more than willing. But understand that Mistra, Detective Mistra, assigns you the cases you're given based on my advice, and I give her that advice based on my divinations of when you're likely to get there and ensure that the most lives are saved as possible. Understand that doing this will allow you to accomplish your objective quicker, but perhaps not in the most efficient manner possible. You may find that you won't get answers you're seeking through this circumvention.
So he's fucking saying we should go by foot to the other fucking place first.
I'm saying I'm willing to
We
transport
also
you
have
if
a boat.
I'm saying that I'm willing to transport you. I just wanted you to understand the reason I didn't offer in the first place.
So you're saying we should go to the other place first?
To get the answers you want, I would advise it.
Ugh.
I look to Griaz. I'm like, Griaz, this is your call.
And Dodge Tails looks to you, Griaz, and gives a bow. Indeed. As I said, I'm more than willing to do this. And rest assured, I would not do it if it potentially resulted in outright disaster. I'm simply giving you an advisory on efficiency.
Tails. Omnipotence has to be a real pain in the ass, I'd imagine. Is my swamp gonna be fucked if we take the route that you are suggesting?
Griaz, make a persuasion check. And I'll give you advantage, because he's not heartless.
Let's see if I had what's a plus 0. It's only a 14.
He thinks for a second. His mage hands steeple, and eventually his eyes open and look to you, Griaz. Your swamp's current ailment is merely a symptom of what's to come. Your swamp is not dying, it is merely sick. However, that does not mean that disaster does not wait for it on the horizon. Just as the northern and southern swamps fell, and it was only through the timely intervention of your teammates that we managed to salvage the eastern. I assure you that your home will be safe if you take this route. I would not have advised Mistra to give you the cases she gave you if it was going to compromise your mission. And for what it's worth, if you do not accept that I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart, the safety of your swamp is also in our best interest as an organization.
You know, I've tried real hard since I first signed up for this whole shindig, not to be overly selfish, and not to push my own needs before yours, because I understood there was a quid pro quo to this whole ordeal. That if I helped y'all, y'all help me. Somehow I've gotten embroiled in all y'all's politics and double dealings and gods know what else. All this supernatural bullshit.
Indeed.
All that said, I am not one to spit at the greater good. These people that I've worked with have become my friends. And if you were telling me that what you were suggesting is going to help them, and honestly everybody else, honestly, I could use a little good karma. But if we do this, and I get back to my small, and I can't fix my home, and the beings there that saved me and empower me, nothing will be able to save you, Tails. There is no an infinite amount of scenarios that you could imagine where you don't end up in my with your throat in my hands.
I understand. And although the detective will not say it herself, I certainly will on both of our behalves. Your help is appreciated, and you will prove instrumental in the coming battles, Griaz Bramblepelt. Your home will not be a pawn in the machinations going on this continent. I can assure you that. I may not be a druid. I may not have the same natural connections that you possess, but I do possess a certain level of spiritual keenness, and they may not be my friends, but... And he kind of runs one of his mage hands over the GSIA medallion. It is my duty to protect your home. I can promise you that.
It's fine. All right. Then I trust you, Tails.
I won't. I will make sure you don't regret it. I promise you, your home will be safe. I will intervene personally if the delay is too great. I'm always kept on hand specifically for emergencies of such a nature.
And Grizz will then just
Who
turn to everybody else.
who keeps you on hand for those delays? Are you keeping yourself on hand for that, or is that the organization?
The organization. Typically,
Why?
Why do I do it, or why do they keep me on
Nah.
call?
Yeah, why do they keep you on hand?
I joined for my own personal reasons. I'm not unwilling to share. I simply don't think you'd find it all that interesting. But
What if I do?
he gives a shrug and holds up the mage hands, and you haven't paid it too much mind, but it does call attention to that. He without the mage hands, it's simply stumped wrists, and gives a small bow. If you're sure that you'd find it interesting.
I don't know. I just kind of want to know why you care to work so hard for them. Why did Sure, maybe like you're useful to them and that's why they want you there, but like why do you want to do it?
I used to be an adventurer. That was where I learned my trade. But I lost the use of my hands in battle. They were unable to be recovered, so I had them amputated. The GSA promised that, to be blunt, that I could be useful again. Without the use of my hands, I was unable to cast spells, so I could no longer maintain my career as an adventurer despite my expertise. So the GSA promised that they would give me the use of my spell casting again in exchange for my assistance. And they did hold up their end of the bargain, and he kind of wiggles the mage hands. But while I was released from service, I decided to stay of my own accord. Working for them taught me that there were better ways to use my mind than simply in the magical slaughter of others. If it wasn't for them, I would simply be another bum on the streets, unable to provide for myself. They gave me my
So they
life back.
gave you like the magic hands there?
They taught me how to do it in such a way to where I could maintain it like this. Ordinarily, even a spellcaster of my ability can only do it one at a time.
But
And-
now you don't need them.
Indeed.
So why are you still here?
As I said, working for them showed that there was better things I could do with my powers than simply doing mercenary work, serving a greater good.
You still think they're the greater good? Knowing what you know?
He kind of grins a little bit. And I think that everyone thinks they're serving the greater good. It's just a matter of whose good they're serving. But
I'm gonna lean towards Grios. Are we serving the greater good?
What is greater good?
Yeah, I don't think we're just... What does he mean everyone thinks that? I don't think that.
Greater good's always just somebody's opinion.
exactly.
Told
Yes.
everybody, you're not going to get a majority on anything.
Exactly. But I can at least
Alright,
safely
so
say
you're choosing this. Whatever. Out of some, like, obligation, or because you think that, like, even if they're not the greater good, maybe, like, some other greater good will happen because they exist? Is that what I'm getting from this?
let me put it in a way that you might be able to understand, Utaka. This isn't a
Is
judgment.
that... Is he calling me stupid?
I was about to say, this is not a judgment on your intelligence. I'm simply speaking it in a language you can understand.
I can speak halfling, too.
Primordial. He knows that.
And primordial.
Mhm.
If the idea that I try to do good for others simply because it's the right thing to do and I have the power to do it is something that you have a hard time believing, then think of it this way. I can see the future. Detective Mistra, Lord Els, and all of you can't. So the GSIA, you could think of it, are my pawns. I may not control the organization, but they trust my advice with their lives. I could be lying to them about my visions, and they would have no idea the wiser. They serve my greater good, or rather, through my advice, my greater good is created. And my greater good is minimizing death and suffering.
If we're talking about which bases we could be, I would like to be a knight because they get to move all funny.
I would like to be a rook or a castle.
An interesting metaphor.
What is this game?
You'll find out soon.
Avron's a total queen.
That does,
You're a queen, Iran?
that makes sense.
I thought you were like a lord or something.
In Dragon Chess, the queen can move anywhere on the board and is the most powerful piece.
Plus, I always slay, so.
Oh. I want to
Technically, the
learn
king's the most
this.
powerful piece. King
What
is
is that?
the-
Dragon chess?
Dragon
Yes.
chess. You never played
You
Dragon
gotta...
chess?
No!
We can
I
play
don't
some
know how to
Dragon
fucking
chess.
play that.
I have to
You'll
dig
fix
through
it.
my
You
inventory
want me to like
real quick.
fucking wreck you at cards? I
was
can
gonna say, are
fucking
you
wreck your
proficient in
ass.
it?
Nope, I'm proficient in playing cards.
Oh, Avron's. Oh, I could teach you if you like. Along with Celestial, I believe you were interested in knowing that.
Yeah, now that you're not
And
like wasting all your
since we're
fucking
going
time
to
with
be-
that lord that's some bitch, you could like teach us stuff.
Garrus is
Like a
just
day.
grinning. Like, he's like, ah!
Tails kind of smiles, and indeed, it could be a helpful skill for you to learn, Utaka. I
Why
think
is dragon chess useful for me to know?
you'll see. Anyway,
Is there something I should know?
There's something I know that I can't tell you.
No shit. I could have said that.
Okay, apparently you need to teach me this? What the fuck? This is fucking weird.
Tails kind of
Okay.
smirk. You get the impression he's a little bit of Mistro's rubbed off on him, and he kind of is getting his kicks out of messing with you.
I do actually have one question.
What's that, Garrus?
Who is really in charge of the Goldshine Investigation Agency? Mr. only alluded to someone with a lot of gold? But who?
He doesn't run the organization, but he is its founder. Foreas Gnosis, a forest gnome, created the organization when he was fairly young. He's an inventor, so he had money to burn, and was interested in studying the strange and exotics of the world. And eventually our organization grew from that to become what we are today. Although he does not run it, he simply funds it quietly while he pursues his own career overseas. The de facto leader of us is your friend. I'm unsure of the exact nature of your relationship, Lord Els.
It was our dad's friend?
Indeed. But at the very least, he seems to think of you as something of adopted sons.
Do you happen to have the ability to scry?
I don't have much of a need for it, but I can if the need arises. Why?
Neither Ivron nor myself have received any correspondence from the Hell Knights.
Indeed.
I would like to see what is going on there. And if everything is alright.
Make a persuasion check.
Sure! I would like to use my chat inspiration from last session.
Go for it.
Alright, well, glad I did that because the first roll was a nat 1.
Ooh.
And the second roll is a 17 plus 9. 26? Yeah.
Also, my cat is meowing like crazy, so I apologize if that's coming in over the
But
mic.
what is the cat's name? I need to know this.
My cat's Salvador. He's a little Siamese cat.
Oh.
Keep it down, Sal.
Yeah, we all call him Sal. Anyway, Tails kind of thinks for a moment, and I can assure you everything's fine.
I would like to see it with my own 2 eyes.
Would you like me to take you to their camp, or
I would like
What
to know
exactly?
why there has been no response from any of the letters Ivron has sent.
he kind of bites his lip and
If it's not too much trouble, it would settle our minds.
I understand. I will not give you a name, but I would ask you to think. Who can you think of that has the power to receive your messages, but ensure that they do not arrive to their intended recipients? Someone who has that presence and authority, or rather ability, and would have some sort of personal reason to do so.
Can I make a history check? Is it Euron? Is that what he's inferring? Or are there other people that I, as a character, would know that Graham, as a player, does not have?
Make a history check.
I'd say same with Ivron, if I can give him advantage.
Yeah,
on
Garrus, roll history with
I
advantage.
can't roll higher than my first roll, which was a nat 20. For a total of 22. But so I think Ivron should roll, because I think Ivron has better knowledge of history.
All right, everyone, you go and roll history.
I also rolled the nat 20, so 24.
All right, you know what?
It finally happened.
Yeah,
It
two
finally
nat 20s. Two nat 20s.
We
You
did it,
were.
Graham, we did it. We won D&D.
We won. I'd like my level up, please.
Harris, Ivron. What he says there kind of makes you notice. He said initially authority, but then corrected himself to say ability. That would imply someone who doesn't have authority, but has an ability to do something. So that's likely not Els. Someone who has that much power. Authority would certainly be an appropriate word. So you think over his words. Someone who has some sort of grudge with the two of you, who would have the power to receive your letters, but ensure that they don't arrive to the rest of the Hell Knights. And then you recall, both of you, a red-cloaked Hell Knight in the snow, who saw the two of you as weak, and felt personally slighted. A young half-elf by the name of Samuel Hjorin, who you know to be working as a squire, so he would likely be handling the received letters, and it would be his responsibility to ensure they arrive.
I look at Ivron and just go, Samuel?
I'm not sure why. Is he actually a squire?
No. As I recall, he was not actually a squire.
No, he pretended to be a knight, but I think
Oh,
he was
you're right,
actually
you're right. He was a squire pretending to be a
squire.
knight, not... Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like he was like,
Yeah.
I'm ranked. And we're
Yeah,
like, no, you're
we're like,
not.
no, you
He's
aren't.
like, weird.
Step back, son.
Yeah, exactly.
That, is curious that he would intend to disrupt our letters. After all, he literally saw us drop a member of the Cult of Redsight in under 12 seconds.
Perhaps his, because it's like a sub faction, right, within the order. But he's like, I forget the name of it, but his oath is more about vengeance.
Well,
Something like that.
yeah, you recall the reason he didn't like the two of you is because you're working for the Goldshine Supernatural Investigation Agency. That in and of itself is not a problem. Lord Els does the same thing. What because he did and again, nat 20s on history. He did mention this to the two of you's faces. He dislikes the two of you and sees you as weak because the Hell Knight's oath is to punish the wicked by any means necessary, even if that means punishing a crime before it's even been committed. The fact that the two of you essentially hold back, give these people their due process, give them a chance to surrender, give them a chance to defend themselves, he sees that as a sign of weakness. Whereas the Hell Knights, if they knew that Arpeggio was a member of the Children of Redsight, they would have just taken him down there in that bar when you first saw him. And while Samuel did help you, as far as he was concerned, it's partially you guys' fault that he even was in the position to attack Velbright in the first place. You could have just killed him in the bar that night. But of course, that wouldn't be justice, would it?
So it's like, it's a
Utaka,
problem for another time, brother.
Utaka, could you send one last spell?
Yeah, you remember when I was like, I can send one more today, and then I sent that last one to Tails, and then like, so that's like 4 plus 0, so no. I can do it tomorrow.
He can do
brother.
math. That's impressive.
Wonderful.
You
That-
can like stew on this for a while though, and like ruminate and like ruminate's a good word. Did you know that word? Okay, it's a really good word. But like think about it, like think really hard about how angry you are at Samuel, and I can tell Samuel tomorrow how angry you are at him.
This is not. This is not going to his superior, or to Samuel. This is going to his
Oh.
superior.
Okay. Well, like, think really hard how mad you are at Samuel, and I'll tell his superior tomorrow.
Sounds wonderful.
Alright. Bet. See you then. Actually, I'll, like, see you between now and then, but just, like, think about it.
And perhaps for now, brother, we can send our own correspondence. He has to be reading them. tracking our whereabouts. Perhaps we can trick him into finding us.
That does seem fun.
Nevertheless, thank you, Master Tails, for giving us that insight.
Of course.
Truly appreciated.
It's not normally what I do, but I'm glad I could ease your
I know
minds.
I agreed to not ask you any questions about.
I had
or
the complete
anything on that.
I had the complete freedom to choose not to answer. And you both came to the conclusion on your own. You just needed a nudge in the right direction. He thinks for a moment, and I apologize for not being able to do more, but is there anything else I can do for all of you in the meantime? Before you set out on the path.
Where are we in this building / how many people are there in earshot?
Most of the tavern, because it's like kind of like mid-afternoon by this point. But they don't. They definitely do seem to be noticing, the grandiose displays of magic. But you don't see. You checked earlier this morning, and there didn't seem to be anybody like going out of their way to eavesdrop on you.
Okay, I'm gonna shift back and forth and look at Tails, and then look away and look back at Tails and be like, you know what I'm gonna ask, right? Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah? So?
And I'll say, for out of character reference, Utaka, what was Utaka going to ask?
When are the dragons gonna hatch?
He kind of smiles, and I can't give you the exact answer, but
At least just one of them. Just one. Like the soonest one. Like when?
Ron looks very confused, but is listening intently.
It'll happen in 5. 5 what? 4.
4. Make a persuasion check, Utaka.
Yeah, sure. Let me just fucking check. Let me. Yeah, I think I have one. I have 2 crits and 2 inspirations. I would like to use a crit.
Use a crit for this.
Yes, I am using one of my 2 crits on this. I want to know when the first dragon's gonna hatch.
He kind of smiles, almost like incredulously. But seeming, well, it seems, again, it goes against his better judgment, but he does like eventually like kind of like roll his head a bit and relent. And I will not tell you which, but I will say one of them will be hatching by the time another year has passed.
That
Dragon
still
egg.
seems like so long.
I said one of them. And you understand, Utaka, that dragon eggs can take generations to hatch, correct?
Really?
Dragon eggs? Dragon eggs?
I apologize.
Yeah,
I believe
so
they...
we should go to that place we're gonna go.
It's
Like
a
that
code
that
word.
I've already gotten on my saddle, and
yeah,
I'm
that city
like
we're going
starting
to,
a trot
let's
away.
go.
Like,
Code word for drugs, Ebron. Don't worry about it. Code word for drugs.
Tails kind of
Drugs?
smirks and
That's even worse!
I should make myself
Is it?
scarce and vanishes.
No, he's supposed to take us to the place.
No, he said we had to walk. That
yeah,
was
he
the
did
whole
say
fucking
we had
point.
to walk.
Wait, I thought he was gonna like take us to the city because it would be faster.
No, he was saying that basically if you guys take it on, he was willing to take you to the swamp, but he said if you guys go there on foot, you'll not only be able to save the Black Swamp, but also get some information you want
Sure,
along
but I
the
was
way.
asking if he could like take us to the
But
city.
also warning us. He's like, hey, don't make this
Yeah.
too easy for yourself.
Yeah,
You're not
this
gonna
was really
save
Matt
anybody.
saying, "Hey, I have encounters on the road for you. Stop avoiding
I know. I will
them."
say
Shit planned.
No, I will say in seriousness, that explanation was actually legitimate. I did plan enough of the Black Swamp to have this session there. If you guys really wanted to go there, his explanation was just legitimately honest. That if you guys went there now, because again, I usually do the whole world continues around you organically principle. So doing it that way, you might have missed something.
We trust you, Matt. You don't have to justify yourself to us.
I
Just
figured we were
clarifying.
missing.
Can I get one last moment
Right,
with Tails
don't
before he?
Yeah, sure. Again, he was just kind of doing it because he realized he accidentally got Utaka in trouble.
He can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If everybody else is leaving, I think Ria's just gonna squeeze him on the shoulder. Again, dig his claws in just a little bit, but just be like, Tails, just don't fuck me, all right?
He thinks for a
And,
moment and puts one of the mage hands on top of your own, and looks into you. And again, he has these kind of like unreadable dark eyes, but he stares. He makes eye contact with you, and I have devoted my life and my considerable abilities to the preservation of life in this land. I will not make your home a pawn in anyone's schemes.
All right. So Grizz will just pull out a single gold piece and just plop it in the mage hand. Day's work, then.
And if you change your mind, I'm only a sending spell away.
Yeah, I wish
Or-
I had that spell.
Or, indeed, given that you know the nature of my abilities, if you simply wish to see me, I'll know.
Sorry, I got to thinking about the whole point of being omnipotent. Do you see me when I'm doing my morning bathing activities? Is that something you? I don't want to know. Don't tell me.
I don't think you'll
But
like
you
the
can
answer.
go ahead and disappear now.
Adieu. And vanishes.
He said I do. Damn it, he does see me. Okay, so yeah, Kriaz is good to go.
All right. So, packing up your belongings. Geharis and I presume Israel on Naden.
Yep.
Ivron on Yao with Lauren under arm. Utaka, I presume, on Barry. Griaz, normally you wild shape for travel, but is there any particular thing you'd like to do this time around?
Yeah, and this is going to be a particularly long bit of travel. I can only do like I think 4 hours total. We'll start as a horse, and we'll go from there if need be.
Okay.
Because Israel still needs to ride something, right?
Well, no, she's riding with Geharis on Naden.
Oh, that's right. She rides Naden. Okay, then yeah, I'll start out as a long horse.
All right. Horse
I
crimes.
mean, so before we would leave,
No
I
horse
will
crimes. Legitimate horse traveling.
horse investments.
Horse investment into
Outstanding horse
future
travel.
horse crimes.
Exactly. I will before we leave. I will tell John, Titanus, and Billy where we're going.
No, yeah, I was gonna ask, yeah, like,
Yeah.
and do you want to tell Captain Brooke about the potential change of plans?
Uh,
Did you pay
Yeah.
it?
yeah, I've already paid.
Well, it doesn't look like she spent it yet.
Hey, that's fair. I mean, she kept us safe on the road. She can come if she wants. I think the entire conversation, not to waste time, but is literally, hey, we're going here. You can come if you want. Things might be more dangerous there than they were here when we arrived.
Brooke considers, but then says they'll come with you at least to Jor, and then part ways with you there because they have business across the lake. Um, uh, um, but and she does make it clear she is willing to give you your money back if you want, but if not, then she'll just say she owes you one.
I mean, I will, rather than her owing us one, I would like the name of her ship and have her be aware that if we are ever in grave danger, that we intend to teleport onto her ship, far, far away from whatever bad thing is happening.
She kind of smiles a little bit at more just the incredulousness of that statement, but adjusts quickly. And the buckler, named after myself.
I could not think of a better name.
You're always welcome on my ship if the need arises.
That is lovely to hear. I hope that we shall never need it in a dire strait, but if we do,
I get the impression we'll be seeing each other soon.
what can I say? Danger finds us.
And I may take you and your friend's advice, and they kind of gesture to themselves. Take our case to the GSIA. If that ends up being the case, I certainly hope your team takes our case.
If you need anything at all, Brooke, just let us know, alright?
Of course. But the road is long. There might be a storm coming, so we'll want to make sure we travel careful.
Hey, let's find out. What's the weather like, Weather Griaz?
Oh, well, thank you for asking, Normal Griaz. Well, right now the weather is cloudy, so it's going to get pretty chilly, especially with dead of winter, snow everywhere. But yeah, she ain't lying. It's getting pretty dark and cloudy. You get the impression it's not storming tonight, but it might storm soon.
Okay, then. Well, hey, everybody, it's going to get pretty cold, and yeah, we got a storm brewing in, but probably not tonight. So make sure you stay somewhere warm tonight, cuddle up with somebody close, and we'll get through this together, all right?
Alright, so I'll get some fucking sleep before that storm hits.
All right. In that case, on to the road with all of you.
On the road again?
Yeah, on the road again.
On the way to the town, do we cross the blacksmith?
I'll say yeah. You probably see him on the way out of town.
If he's within 60 feet of me, I want to cast Divine Sense. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to look at him, but I do want to cast Divine Sense.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say as you and Garrus, do you want to bring the poachers with you, or just tell them where you're going to be and continue on your way?
Ooh, well, they're my retainers technically, so, they're coming with, they're
Okay.
stuck with me for life, or until they die.
All right, so gathering the poachers and the pirates, you gather your squad and start making your way south. On the way there, Ivron, indeed, you do see these silversmith. Interestingly, traveling alongside Reggie and their compatriot. They seem to know each other, although don't seem to be in active conversation at the moment. And being subtle, you stand nearby and cast Divine Sense. And remind me what that does.
It lets me know if what is good and evil, and then I can sense either the hallowed spell or know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead. So essentially, because I think the rumors were he's a half god as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what Ivron's looking for to confirm that. Oh shit! There's like another person like me in the world that's nearby.
Yeah. Being subtle, you close your eyes and tune into your Divine Sense. They are of good alignment and register as a celestial.
Oh my gosh. Ivron has a bead of sweat go down his face, but he just keeps moving on. They got places to be.
Okay.
Matt, what kind of terrain are we going to be traveling on? Is this like a road or?
There is a road. This terrain's going to be mostly open plains with some forest. The fleeting forest kind of starts thinning out between ground and Jor. Um, uh, so, um, uh, any reason why, or just out of curiosity?
Just picking my wild shape.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because I was going to get into describing it and all that. I was just curious if there was a particular reason. All right. In that case, you guys start making your way to Jor. Indeed, the path is unobstructed. It's less of a dedicated road and more you can see the kind of beaten path of trade caravans heading up this way. And from the looks of it, Gaharis, whether it's them taking your advice or simply clearing out with their curses being lifted by the intervention of Utaka and Dr. Tails, there are a lot of people taking the path with you. People leaving ground and making their way. You can see some people heading up north to Valebright, others heading south with you to Jor. While the business owners and those who have built their lives here do seem intent to stay, the travelers and those who can afford to leave do seem to be taking your advice.
Then as we ride past them, I think I would just say, you're making the right choice. To each and every one of them.
Yeah, and I'll say one of the ones taking this path is the silversmith, who kind of looks up to you and kind of looks you up and down before giving just kind of a gruff nod. You walk through broad, snow-covered plains, the hills rolling around you, and while you're still in the fleeting forest, the trees are more spread out between ground and Jor's obvious need for logging. This part of the forest is a lot thinner than the more dense parts of it between Valebright and ground, just because it's a lot more ground to cover. Wide, snow-covered plains and dense, packed with snow trees. Indeed, as Gria has predicted, especially as the sun starts to set, it is freezing. Utaka, you can feel some of the water on your skin start to kind of like chill. Not quite freeze, but just start to chill. Israel seems used to harsh winters, and Griaz, with your coat of fur, you're doing rather well. Overall, Utaka and Ivron, you two seem to be faring the worst, but again, it's more of a discomfort than an active, like, you can't keep going.
I would say that Iran looks completely fine because he has a ring of warmth.
Oh, indeed you do. All right. So
yeah, I'm like
by the
pouting
love
and whining.
yeah, so between Griaz's coat of fur, Gaharis's resistance to cold, Ivron's ring of warmth, and Israel being
I'm
used
not
to
resistant
winters.
to cold.
I thought you were as a tiefling. Are you not?
Fire and disease.
Oh, I thought you had cold resistance for some reason.
Nope,
I'm sorry.
even
There are certain tieflings that
Levistus tieflings, for some reason, even though they can use cold, they still get the just tiefling overall resistance to fire.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I
I
had
have
resistance
Hey.
cold too. That's weird.
That's
total
okay.
brain.
But
total
I
brain
did
fart on my part.
purchase winter gear, which is why it wouldn't bother me.
Okay.
And I technically have winter gear too, but that ain't gonna stop me from complaining.
Yeah. So Utaka kind
True
of
dat.
complains as you all trudge through the snow. This caravan of pirates and poachers and the townspeople of ground building up along with you. At the very least, it's not a quiet or lonely travel. As the sun sets and night begins to fall, and I presume you guys prepare to set up camp for the night, the forest is not as quiet as you would expect a snow-lit forest to be. this far out from ground, while it's still the dead of winter, so animals aren't really active, most of them hiding out in hibernation. As you all start to set up camp for the night, you can actually hear in the surrounding forest areas the sounds of chatter, as if people live out here. Although you're like a day out from ground, so it can't be anyone from ground. The townspeople themselves don't seem surprised or bothered by it, though, and simply set up tents and sleep and bedrolls for themselves. Is there anything of note you guys would like to do while setting up camp for the night? You're on this snow-lit plain, snow-covered trees surrounding you, townspeople of ground, the poachers, the pirates, and you can hear some chatter as if people are out in the forest, but don't see anyone immediately.
I think all Ibron would do before he bunks down is chat up people and just be kind to them, heal the sick and wounded, and yeah, maybe offer to stand guard.
Riaz is going to cast Speak with Animals just to hear what all the animal chatter is about.
Well, it's not animal chatter; it's like people chatter. Like I said, it sounds like people. Yeah, like I said, it sounds like people are living out here, and the townspeople don't seem surprised by that.
Okay.
I think that I would definitely, while we're setting up camp, see who else is setting up camp and try and get us all in a centralized area. And I would try to organize like a general watch of like several people to cover like all 4 points.
Okay.
Through shifts.
Which,
Yeah, do these seem like general like villagers or
for the
like...
most of them appear to be relatively experienced travelers. You do notice they have like packs and like seem well supplied. You get the impression most of these people are people who just traveled to ground, and either their stay was going to be temporary in general, or people who just didn't have much to begin with, so they don't mind packing up and leaving. So yeah, it seems to be largely like relatively seasoned travelers, and as you see Gaheris like instructing them, they all seem understanding, and the silversmith is one of those who volunteers to help keep watch.
Did we ever see the elf or half elf and his partner with the broken
yes,
legs?
yes. Reggie and his partner are traveling with the silversmith, going to Jor with you guys.
Okay, so they're not going to Veilbright, which we suggested they go to.
Yeah, they haven't said why, but yeah, it seems like they're heading to Jor at the moment.
All right. I'm gonna give him the
Maybe
eye
they're
from a
the
distance.
Reggie kind of gives you a friendly wave, as does their partner. And
does anyone in the group traveling with us seem out of place?
Make a perception check.
Okay, because I guess I'll give you the background. Gaheris would be assuming that if any of the devils or the people working for Mr. Fishborn want us out, the further away we get from ground, the easier it's going to be.
Yeah,
and it
that's
would
fair.
be easy enough for one of them to pretend to be a caravan person.
Mm-hmm.
Can I also just generally keep...
also offer... I was just going to say offer assistance, because Ibron would be looking for assassins.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm not looking for devils,
Oh, okay.
I'm looking for assassins, because they told us there were assassins out for us.
22 total.
Alright, Garrus, did you roll with advantage?
I always roll with advantage.
Alright,
For
Ivron
perception.
and Utaka both roll perception.
That shield
Could
has
I
saved my
roll
bacon.
insight? Because I'm trying to look for assassins and not necessarily looking for blades or anything like that. Like, more like nefarious intent.
You want to see if anyone's like sitting there sharpening a knife, like, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, I want to see if they're giving me the stink eye.
That one person, it's like skewered some meat on a fire, is like looking at you and they're like...
Yeah, I'm looking for the stink eye.
Sure, make an insight
Someone
check.
never-
Although I say
never
there's a
took
lot of
the
people here, so if you're gonna roll insight, you're gonna roll with disadvantage.
Yeah, we're like,
Yeah,
what's your
okay.
name, caravan man? And they're like, Allison.
So...
An assassin.
Would you still like me
So
to roll perception or give Utaka advantage on insight?
I'm gonna just go ahead and tell you that's not necessary
No.
because I rolled a 19 and an
Rolling well tonight.
18 for insight. So that's a, even with disadvantage, that's a 25.
All right, good rolls tonight. All right. And everyone roll perception.
Is my perception 5? 21.
Okay. Again, good rolls tonight. And real quick before I resolve those, Griaz, what are you doing, if anything?
I think he was more concerned that I misunderstood you with the whole chatter thing. So if everybody else,
That's my fault. I'm sorry.
Yes, no, it's fine. If everybody else is suspicious of the group, I think he's probably. I mean, he's got the highest perception out of anybody. So he also, was a horse the whole time. So maybe people were less suspicious of him, so he's just gonna try to keep an eye out too. I mean, I don't mean to like overload the whole perception insight sort of thing, but
Yeah, it's like everyone wants to keep an eye on, keep an eye out, absolutely.
yeah,
Roll
I guess
perception.
to spice it up just a little bit, I will cast detect magic, and then just kind of just walk around and see if anybody sticks out for any type of magical weapons, or if anybody sticks out for like even any type of, it doesn't tell you like celestials or phase or anything like that, but yeah,
Okay.
who amongst these refugees is carrying some weird shit?
Okay. Go ahead and roll perception, and then I'll note the detect magic as well.
Oh man, it's gonna be so high. Okay, so that was a 19 plus 9, so it's 28.
All right. Yeah, Harris, you start organizing watches. Several people actually volunteer to help. Again, they seem relatively seasoned travelers for the most part. Some of them are younger than you'd expect them to be, but again, respond very well to just like, hey, keep watch, and just, yes, sir. Overall, they seem like a decently pleasant lot. If more or less, you notice that they kind of form little cliques, like they seem to have their groups that they stick to, but they don't seem overly antisocial, just more like they have their friends and they prefer to talk to them.
Fair. Since they're younger, I guess I would probably offer to teach them some basic like Hell Knight combat trainings for them to work on as they're traveling. So it's like daily routines and be like, hey, here are the proper ways to parry. Here is what you should be doing if you're using a dagger or a spear. And that ties into my perception check. Is I think that while I'm doing that, I'm testing each and every one of them if they're like purposely trying to seem like a slouch with the blade or like what have you.
Okay, noted. So, as you're organizing watches and you sort of organize these impromptu duels, which most of them treated as just a fun exercise more than training, again, most of these people seem decently seasoned. Ivron, Utaka, and Griaz, with your chosen methods, you all watch, and you notice even Israel kind of looking around suspiciously, not used to traveling with this many people. Ivron, as you look around carefully, while a few people do stick out to you as oddballs, nobody, plenty of people are carrying weapons, but they're carrying them openly. And nobody seems to be begrudging you guys with hostile intent. In fact, most people actually seem very friendly and receptive to you guys, given that for a lot of these people, you saved them from their fate as snowmen. Utaka, studying their faces and reactions, while some of them seem a little on the awkward side, again, they seem friendly. Nobody seems to have overtly hostile intent, although you do notice one figure, a species you've not seen before and you don't know the name of, but this like massive, almost fish-like creature, which seems to have almost like a shark-like physique, does kind of stare at Gaharis, like a curiosity that borders on the unsettling, but it seems more of a like lack of social awareness than an actual hostility. Because you can see whenever Gaharis walks by, and they kind of stare at him as he goes with their shark-like eyes and kind of lick their lips.
Eyes, look at Dolly's eyes.
Those eyes. And Griaz, as you patrol among the caravan with magic detection at the ready. Again, in terms of just your overall perception, you don't notice anything that unsettles you. Although you are happy to know that you do see some animals. One of the people, one of the younger travelers that accepts Gaharis's offer of a duel, seems to be traveling with a small compatriot of rats. One of which kind of gives you a friendly wave as you pass by. Whether they recognize you or not, you can't tell. And the which I will say those familiar with D&D would recognize this shark person as a Triton. Kind of watches you walk by as well, agree as, and with you, given that you seem to be a horse to their eyes, it's an unmistakable look of like, if this wasn't property of someone, I would eat it. And you find a lot of them are carrying magic items. The silversmith, Reggie, and Vallejo in particular are loaded with magical gear. But even a lot of the other travelers you guys are going with are carrying a pretty healthy supply of magical equipment.
Anything that would necessarily bags of holding and removal rods, all that's your mundane.
Yeah. Like that's why I said like between that and your perception, you don't see anything that strikes you as particularly
Nobody's carrying like
odd.
daggers of venom or anything like that. Okay.
Yeah, well, and even if they are, it doesn't seem like it's out of place for them to be carrying. Again, most of these people seem like seasoned travelers who are in similar lines of work to yourself. I'll say between all of you, nobody here seems to have visibly hostile intent or seems outwardly aggressive. Overall, the group you're traveling with, not counting the pirates and the poachers, seems to include something in the ballpark of like 15 people from ground. Again, it's a rather small village. And overall, nobody seems hostile or aggressive, just sticking to their little groups. And Griaz, you and Ivron kind of watch closely to see if anyone doesn't quite blend in with their group, if it seems like they're just like letting them in because they asked or something. But it seems like these people all know each other, and if nothing else, their alibis are solid.
I want to throw in just a last note on that. If there's only 15 and they're somewhat together, Ivron would use Divine Sense. Under the same suspicions as Gaharis as well. If there are devils following us, maybe disguising themselves as someone that these people might know, maybe the feed lead will pop on his radar.
Okay. You use your Divine Sense as you, under the ostensible thing of helping, treating any wounds and helping people get comfortable and set up camp. No fiends pop up on your radar. However, the Triton also registers as a celestial.
So between the shark person and the waving rats, is this just Suicide Squad? Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay.
A hand.
There's some. It is just for some bit NPCs, so thought it'd be fun.
I dug it. I like the waving rat. I'm gonna probably kidnap them. I don't know. I haven't decided. I guess at that point I would probably reconvene with the rest of the party.
Okay.
To convey, hey, I'm setting up watches. This is what I'm doing. What has everyone else been up to?
Not a whole lot else, brother. Staying watch, tending to the sick and wounded.
Yeah, I didn't see anyone with like knives or some shit looking like they're gonna stab us, so I don't know, we're probably okay.
That is wonderful. None of these travelers are too good with a blade. enough that I feel that they are pretending.
I could send Garnet into like their bags or some shit if you want me to get a closer look, but
I mean, I'll be
No,
honest.
that
I walked around and saw what a lot of them had. A lot of them have magical knickknacks and blades and all sorts of other stuff like that, but it's nothing out of place. A lot of these folks is just traveling folk, and they have stuff they need.
that they're taken out to like, I don't know, cities in the middle of nowhere, yeah.
Yes.
So, brother, you spoke of a watch. Has anybody signed up for a roster, or what? Who's taking what watch?
John Titanus and Billy, of course. Myself, Israel,
No, I'll take one.
That's a lot.
and one person named Jingles.
Why are they all here?
Why did I bring my retainers?
No. Why are all these people here?
I mean, we could ask them.
Yeah, I kind of want to.
I thought this was just
In
the
the
road out
chat,
of
Or
I
maybe
know-
they are just following us.
I was gonna say, in chatting with people, did anyone mention why they might be leaving outside of Harris being like leave?
Yeah, I will say, while Gaharis had given kind of a general advice, he hadn't like spread the word through the whole town. He was mostly like confronting people he knew.
But I did tell the tavern owner too.
Yeah, and you do know that Bubba is something of a gossip. That being said, yeah, Ivron, if you'd like, yeah, if you asked, which, yeah, totally fine. Most of them simply say that the story you get is kind of similar from everyone. They had come to ground as just adventurers and travelers because they were under the understanding that the Winter Festival was going to be held there. But by the time they realized that wasn't the case, Villanova showed up and cursed them. And since the Winter Festival's ending now, so there's no point going to Veilbright, most of them are making their way to Jor in hopes of some of them have ships they want to commission to take them elsewhere. And other people just are planning to stay there because they just don't want to be in ground anymore and want to stay somewhere ostensibly safer until they have a better sense of what they want to do next. However, one group, the group that includes the Trident and the Druid with the Rat Familiar, do mention offhandedly that they're heading to Jor to join the Warfront as mercenaries.
Ivron would relay all that and kind of motion over to that group specifically and say, seems as though they're trying to join the war.
On which side? I assume that
Didn't bother to.
they're most likely going for the Bluefield Alliance.
It's not my business to ask. As far as I'm
Why
concerned,
ain't
this
it?
war really has nothing to do with us.
I mean, don't it?
Make
We
it
got
up.
allies on
We
that
get
side.
entangled.
We got friends on that side, and we got people on this side.
We got
like,
friends
don't
on
it
the
have?
other side.
Yeah, don't it have
Did the
shit to
Hell
do with
Knights?
us?
The Hell Knights are staying out of the war, really, right? Like they're just supporting the.
I
GSI,
figured the
they're
Hell
not
Knights,
there
since they were supporting Veilbright, were
Yeah.
part of the Assyrian Empire. Or not
Yeah,
the
no,
Assyrian Empire,
yeah. The Hell Knights are outright. They're not on the front lines right now because that's part of the reason they called you guys here is because they're trying to build up their numbers.
Yeah.
But they are planning to, once they've built up their numbers, outright support the Emilian Empire and fight the Bluefield Alliance.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that was.
Well, until I hear word otherwise, I have no stake in this war. And he would just look at Harris and be like, "Do you?"
The real question is is being a bystander going to get to be thrown on the side of this war or against another side? Is it going to get Griez thrown into a war because he is big and fluffy? Is it going to get Utaka thrown into this war because they are a little damp and can breathe underwater? And they do not have pointy ears like an elf, and they do not look...
My ears, like, point a little. He's gonna, like, turn his head and, like, flick it a little.
My point is, if I get invested in this war, it is because someone forced my hand. Right now, my main concern is finding the murderer of our father.
I'm gonna move towards the center of camp.
Okay. Do you give us a look like I'm doing a thing, or is it Utaka just like walking away from the conversation?
He's just gonna start walking away towards the center, the camp. And how many NPCs are there around us?
Since Gaharis and Ivron advised them to stay close to the center of camp and not like branch off or wander off. Most of them are fairly close to the center. So, what radius are you talking here?
Well, I'm not gonna like shout at the top of my lungs. So maybe within,
okay, I
like,
wasn't sure if you were like casting
40...
a spell or just talking.
Oh shit! No, you're right. I got thaumaturgy. Yeah, anyone within like at least 80 feet of me.
Okay, so yeah, you'll easily hit pretty much everyone.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just like kind of like cut my mouth and kind of like look around and be like, "Hey, why are y'all here? Where are you going?"
And use thaumaturgy to boost this.
Oh yeah, why not?
Some of the snow on the ground kind of rumbles and fluffs, and you can see snow fall from some of the nearby trees.
As well it should.
And several of the travelers kind of like cover their ears or like just kind of like look irritated. The young druid girl kind of like scratches the side of her head, seeming irritated by the noise, and just, "We already told your friend, we're going to Jor."
I'll drop thaumaturgy and I'll just kind of like casually call in her direction. Okay, but like why?
My friends and I were gonna join the Emilian Empire's mercenaries. Jor is closer to the war front. We wouldn't be very good mercenaries in Terminus.
Okay, but like why? Is it just for like gold?
Yeah, money. And like one of her comrades, a tall, strapping guy with a formidable-looking crossbow strung to his back. Not exactly a good reason to be a mercenary outside of gold, is there?
How much are they paying?
I'm gonna walk over to Otaka, grab him by the arm, and walk him over to the other people so he stops yelling across the camp.
Okay. He still like talks uncomfortably loudly as you drag him closer, and then like after a moment passes, he realizes he's closer and he can lower his volume. But like for at least half a moment, he's shouting in someone's face, and that's your fault. So you can live with that.
That's right.
The group that they're sitting with kind of looks at you almost incredulously, and just, they're sitting over here now.
Gaharis just starts polishing his sword. Just like...
How much are they paying?
She kind of scratches the back of her head and just, they're giving us a one-time contract pay of 200 gold, and then we get more for every head we bring back from the Bluefield Alliance.
Like 200 each?
Well, 200 for each of us, but that was just us being clever negotiators. The original deal was 500 for the whole group, but we convinced them that we were traveling separately.
And how many of you are there?
She gives a smile and gestures to herself and begins to gesture to the others. In total, it's a group of, looks like to be about 5. Although the druid insists that it's 6 because she counts her familiar.
What familiar is this that she's insisting on counting?
You see a little rat perched on her shoulder, which gives you a friendly little wave. This is Jingles.
Hey, Jingles. And, like, lean over and, like, tilt my head. Like, wiggle a finger in front of it.
The rat kind of sniffs at you and kind of considers for a moment. Kind of like the best way I can describe it is you can see the rat's face almost kind of. There's a split second of it almost puckering before it scuttles onto your hand as if charmed.
Hey! Alright.
He likes you.
I'm gonna, like, start, like, scrambling through my pockets and find any sort of rat edible fruits or anything I can find
Riz is just
to
gonna make eye contact with Garnet and be like, "I'm so sorry. This has to be so tough for you to see. You've got like 20 eyes too. It's just like it's just everywhere."
give this rat good boy some food.
Absolutely, which Jangles takes enthusiastically.
Good. So y'all are going to, like, Jur, right? So what about that other town, fuck, it's called. What's it called? I'm gonna, like, ask Chris.
Zaidan?
Yeah, Zaidan.
What about it? It's a little desert town in the middle. Well, it's a desert now, but it's just a nobody little swamp city, ain't it?
Ain't it that way?
Well, yes, it's that way. A lot of things are that way.
Sure, but, like, how far is it from Jur?
Kind of tilts his head, like not seeming suspicious, more just kind of like surprised at the line of questioning. But he kind of thinks for a moment, and I'd say it's probably something like an 8-day walk, maybe a bit longer. The jungle takes longer for some to get through than others.
Ah, okay. Wait, so there's, like, jungle between Jur and Zaidan?
Yeah, the Kipling jungle. It's just to the south of Jor.
Alright. Huh. Bet. Uh... Cool. So y'all just are, like, going to, like, kill some goblins or some shit?
Well, we hope to get a little bit more than goblins. The goblins pay the worst. Well, that and the kobolds.
What
pays
pays
best?
better?
The best payment is dragons.
So I was kind of hoping you were going to say bugbears, but that actually is a much more reasonable answer.
Alright, so, like, what pays better than goblins and less than dragons?
Well, that's about everything in the Bluefield Alliance there, love. Ogres.
I'm not your love.
He doesn't like that.
No, I don't like that.
Sorry, didn't mean to upset anyone. Let's see.
I'm not upset, it's just a stupid fucking thing to say.
It's best if we just move on right now, or it's going to turn into a circle sort of thing. So, what else is in the Bluefield Alliance? We got dragons, goblinoids, kobolds.
Let's see. They said we should keep an eye out for giants, ogres.
Let's see what kind.
Didn't specify, although given the terrain, I'd say hill giants are the most likely. Not exactly a lot of room for frost giants. Not exactly a freezing cold region. Well, at the best of times anyway, and kind of brushes at some of the snow.
Well, all I'm saying is hill giants are manageable. You get any bigger than that, you're gonna need a bigger crossbow, bud.
I'll make it work. If I may ask, I'm a little curious. Why are you on this side of the lake?
Me, personally?
Yeah. Our friend here, and he points to the Trident, is just too dumb to know any better, but you seem like an articulate fella.
Yeah, I got pretty words every now and then. I have my reasons.
It's okay. We don't mean to bother you. It's just curious.
Oh no, it's a complicated answer, and honestly, I don't want to chew your ear off or nothing, literally or figuratively. You know what I mean? No,
that actually does get a laugh out of the bulk of them, except for one of them, a fellow in military garb who stares at you deeply unhappy.
Missing an ear. No, I ain't got no particular alliance towards anybody, but people that treat me right. And
mercenary yourself, then?
Kind of, yeah.
Good
He's
man.
our friend.
Yeah, so yeah, sure, I do stuff for money, but I do stuff for my friends for free, first and foremost. Everybody's got to eat somehow. I make my money with a blade, same as a lot of folks.
No judgment
But,
here. I make mine at the point of a crossbow.
Yeah. Are you any good with that, by the way? I have to assume yes, but, gotta ask nonetheless.
I don't know, if they're only charging like 200 per person, do you really think they're that good at it?
Do you understand how
200
much
gold
200
per hour.
is?
Do I? Don't we make more than that?
You
We make
guys,
a lot more than that.
Yeah, we make more than that.
on average, yes, but
You
you
guys
guys are,
just buy dragon eggs.
yeah, and
Yeah.
in fairness though, you guys
Just
are
bought
handling
dragon eggs.
stuff that for an average traveler is much harder to
Oh,
deal with than.
Given,
I get
given we
that.
could make more
That's
money
why
in a
I'm
day of
flexing.
fighting goblins than we could in a month of working
Right.
for
So
Goldshine.
Utaka, to talk about the math on this one, so he takes out 10 goblins. He's made he's made 2,000 gold right there. That's more than I
Wait,
got in my
he
pocket
didn't.
right now.
He didn't say it was 200 per head per
Yeah,
goblin head.
basically, he said that the deal the Emilian Empire seems to be offering for mercenaries is individual mercenaries get 200 just for signing up, or 500 for your whole band if you're traveling as a group. And then you get additional payments for every head of a monster you bring them.
Yeah, but he didn't say it was 200 per head.
Yeah, he hasn't specified how much a head is worth. But to answer your thing, Griaz, he kind of smirks, and I like to think so. I never miss.
Shoot me.
What?
Shoot
He's not
me.
kidding. Just shoot him or it's going to be a thing.
Just fucking shoot me.
Let me.
He's surprisingly not had anything to drink tonight.
You are asking me to shoot you.
You some
Legitimately,
fucking
he is.
pussy. You ain't gonna do it.
No, I don't want to get arrested.
Who's gonna arrest you? I look around like us.
I see that badge on your friend's chest. I'm not a fool.
Ivron, are you
Ivron
gonna
is
gonna
actually-
arrest him if he shoots me?
If Ron looks
I
at him,
know.
looks back at you, Taka, looks back at him, looks back at you. No. No, I will not. Go
He's
ahead.
in a mood, honestly. Just
Shoot him.
All right, don't worry, it's not going to be fatal. And he starts, and Utagi watches. He pulls the crossbow from his back, but it starts to like. You notice a lot of mechanisms and sliding parts on this crossbow that start getting unloaded and unspooled. It takes him a hot minute to get it loaded, but once it's loaded, it's a rather large, intimidating, almost like a miniature ballista. And he levels it at you, and last chance to back out. You sure about this?
Don't be a fucking pussy.
And he pulls the trigger. Are you going to do anything to like specifically resist this, or were you just curious like what would happen?
No, do me the damage. Does he hit?
Yeah, I'm finding out.
AC 19.
You never miss.
He does hit.
Gracious.
Okay. Do me the damage.
Indeed, I will. Sorry, I'm
40 damage.
Okay,
And
we're
we're like,
dead.
oh.
Auto dead.
Yeah.
yeah, no, sorry about that. I have a lot of stat sheets I'm having to bounce between here.
So
Sure.
we're right in the middle of a camp. I imagine Utaka has to back up to not be within like melee range, so he's not at disadvantage. So Utaka
Yeah.
steps in the middle of a camp. Everybody's just looking, and then just gets fucking downed in front of everyone. Everyone's just there,
I
just
would
slow
take a
clapping.
hit. He's not gonna. He's not gonna. He's not. Gonna.
Utaka, as he fires, the crossbow pierces into your thigh, and you take 18 piercing damage.
He starts laughing. Alright.
He slings starts kind of compressing the crossbow, and satisfied.
That's all you got. Like, pull the
I'm not
crossbow
gonna
bolt
aim for your
out of my back.
heart.
No, you're not gonna aim and do any fucking damage, are you? I'll
Your
toss
thigh
the-
is bleeding in the snow.
Oh, I'm so fucking scared.
Ivron, can we get some triage? Do you mind?
Yes. I have
Please
no idea
save
what he's
me.
trying to prove.
Utaka, make a
I-
persuasion
Ron
check.
does.
Brother, I think letting Utaka deal with the results of this is probably for the best.
It's a flat
Well,
16
I thought he was
because
going
I
to
have
learn
a
a
plus
lesson, but
0.
clearly,
I mean, maybe, maybe they have to get hit a few more times to learn the lesson.
Yeah, can Grios pick up on what Utaka's going for here? Because I don't know if this is like a, hold your buddy back sort of thing, or just a let your buddy go sort of thing.
That's fair.
yeah, I would
Um,
say if Ron was let first, like, let the boy learn, but now it's like,
He's like, uh-oh. Utaka's
kinda
gonna
rude.
thunder
He
wave
didn't
everybody
learn.
in this group.
Utaka's
so that was
that
a,
kid that's
a
like,
s-
let him touch the stove so he knows it's hot, and then he just holds his hand there and stares you in the eyes.
that was a 16
kinda,
for the persuasion. What am I persuading him to do?
Shoot you
Well,
again?
it seems
I
like
don't
you
know.
want him to hit you again.
Yeah, okay, go for it. Yeah.
What a mad lad we have.
Ari is gone for one session. Our mom is
Yeah,
not.
yeah, Mom,
You
'Cause
think she would stop me from this? I don't
Israel
think she would.
absolutely would have gone, what are you doing? Do you know what
I
you
don't-
are doing?
I'm not convinced. She
I
would,
will text
I
Kari
think-
right
I think
now and
Israel
say,
would
your
something,
son
but I
is
don't
getting
think
shot
Israel
with a
would stop.
crossbow.
He's your son when he does this.
Yeah.
What's
This
he
is
doing,
your influence.
Oh, you'll see. Like I said, I have a lot of stat sheets to juggle here.
Uh-huh.
I do want to state that the militant guy, Ron is keeping an eye on him just because he doesn't look like he likes my buddy Griaz here.
Noted. Do have to pull out some more dice.
Yeah. Hurt me. Or hit first, I guess.
Oh, he hits.
Okay.
Anyone else have Revivify? No,
Nope.
just Utaka.
Nope,
Yep.
just me.
Okay.
That's okay. Utaka's just going back to meet their god.
Okay,
one?
Utaka, the guy kind of stares at you, and then eventually he turns to look at you, Ivron, and kind of gives you a raised eyebrow. Oh, you can tell it's a silent, may I?
I think if Ron's just as confused as everyone else, but he's not gonna stop you. Like he's asking for it. Like give him what he wants.
The guy reaches into his pack and pulls out 2 additional crossbows, a light and hand crossbow. Straps the light crossbow to the top of the heavy one, the hand under the heavy one, pulls the bolts on all 3 back with this mechanism that allows all 3 to like stick and fire together, levels the collective barrage ballista at you, and pulls the trigger. 3 bolts fly into your stomach, Utaka, one after the other. You take 34 piercing damage.
Okay.
Yeah, man, if it's
Alright.
nerf, it's not nerf, it's nothing, I guess.
Yeah. Is this just a repeating crossbow?
Essentially, he's rigged up 3 crossbows to function as one.
Okay.
Okay, Utaka looks like he's bleeding. He's not down.
Yeah, blood doesn't, like, go away in snow, by the way.
Are you quite finished, Utaka? Please tell me you are.
Look. Yeah, okay, fine. You made your point. Ow! I'm hurt. Ow!
Yes, you legitimately are hurt. Yes.
Do I get a sense?
Ow!
Do I get a sense that Utaka is trying to elicit some sort of response from someone in our party?
From someone in our party?
Yeah, like, is this Utaka lashing out at someone, or is this Utaka, hey, I need to pick a fight and show how awesome I am?
Are you trying to insight check?
I am.
Yeah,
Are
same,
you gonna
actually.
roll?
I am.
Yeah.
How does a 9 do you?
Utaka's such a shit.
Whoa, I would not think that.
How
Okay.
does a second 9 treat you?
Oh my god.
Wait, we gotta wait for Ivron to roll a third 9.
How does a 7? How does a 7 work for you?
So close.
That was
The
the
three of us have no
Wow.
idea what's
Yeah,
going
that
on
was
with
the point.
Utaka. We're like, we're all
Wow.
dumb
I
here.
would say that.
His methods elude you. Even with his passive deception, which by the way is a 10.
What an enigma.
That Utaka's a mysterious character.
Utaka has gotten so much better at lying in the past 8 hours we've been walking down this road.
He's a puzzle wrapped in a labyrinth of a riddle.
So, Moose,
What's up?
while they try to figure out what I'm trying to do I catch any extra glances or sights or anything from the crowd as I am inciting this damage upon my person?
Make a perception check.
What does a natural 20 do me?
Utaka,
Or
as
24.
you have 4 crossbow bolts, which I know add magical crossbow bolts.
Well, 3. I pulled one out and threw it in the snow.
Fair. As you start to look around, everyone is watching, but you don't notice any reactions that catch your eye. Everyone seems more concerned and confused than anything, and you can see a few people like, should we stop this? Or, but given that the crossbow user made a pretty vocal announcement that he didn't want to do this, everyone seems more like concerned, and like you can see a few people like looking like they're ready to go and grab you if you like do something else, but more out of like, oh, they're gonna hurt themselves than any seeming hostile intent. You are 100% confident with that natural 20. You are 100% confident that at the very least nobody in the caravan seems intent on taking this up as an opportunity. Although I will note that there is one reaction. It's not hostile or suspicious per se, but you do notice Brooke just smiling as she watches this. Although whether that's because she knows you or just because of the actual like ludicrousness of the thing itself, you're not sure.
I'll flash her a little bit of a toothy grin as I start tossing some of the crossbow bolts down, and I will start healing myself as well.
Yeah,
With
and the
some
crossbow user
cure
grabs.
wounds.
All right, by all means. The crossbow user starts retrieving the bolts and kind of looks at you guys and just shakes his head and just adventurous and sits back with his group.
Yeah, you are too.
Oh, I didn't say I wasn't crazy.
You didn't let me to hurt you.
I'm not interested in getting hurt. I'm heading to a war front. I don't need to be going there with wounds.
Alright.
Could I size
you're right.
up
Okay.
this individual? Like,
Sure.
having seen their crossbow in action now,
Mm-hmm.
how would I be confident that I could probably take this person in a one-on-one fight?
Make a general intelligence check.
Sure. Uh, 17 plus
Farrah, do
1.
you need any additional healing?
Are you asking me if I need additional healing? Is that the question?
Yeah, I know you have a lot of healing power, but I'm not sure how many spells.
On a sliding scale of 0 to 67, after my last 2 healing spells, I would be at approximately a 40 out of 67.
Alright. Well then, if you would allow, Yvonne would ask. You alright? and offer to cover the rest.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Kind of like toss the remaining crossbow bolts to the ground and like look like he's about to pull away, but then like kind of glance aside and sigh and let you do it if you insist.
Not sure what you were going for there, but that was quite reckless.
Got what I wanted. Just wanted to see if anyone here was gonna fucking do anything.
Ah,
What, you thought I was gonna like
that,
start crying and fall or something?
no, no. I was confused as to what you were trying to prove. But now I see the ingenuity of your plan. Well done. And then he heals the wounds.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks.
Geharis sizing up this mysterious crossbow user. You kind of size him up. Certainly trained. That crossbow is definitely custom designed. It seems to be a modular design that allows him to attach and detach modifications as needed for the situation. So he strikes you as a smart, inventive guy. Certainly a good shot. Granted, you've not seen him hit more than a teenager standing like 15 feet away from him, but still. Assuming he's as good of a shot as he says, and assuming he had the full access to his personal technology and modifications, you get the impression for yourself that he certainly wouldn't struggle to hit you. It would be a matter of circumstance. If he had the range, you imagine you might actually struggle against him. Simply by the time you close the distance, you would already be so badly wounded that he might not have too much trouble finishing you off. But while he looks stronger than the average person, he doesn't strike you as somebody who would be that dangerous in a physical fight. It seems more the fact that his long range accuracy and custom weaponry that makes him dangerous.
Of course.
So you imagine if he had the range advantage, you probably would struggle and he might be able to take you on. But if you like surprise attacked him in melee, you could probably deal with him by himself, no problem.
Yeah,
although
in
you
this
have
situation, I can get that distance in a turn.
Yeah.
So I guess what I would just do is I just start clapping. A very good show. A very good show. I cannot wait for when you are attacking innocents and people with impunity of a mercenary. Tell me, where do tieflings fall on the list? Or merfolk? Or the undead?
Common, Bluefield, Bluefield.
And what about Genasi?
Common.
Azimar?
At least last I checked. A what?
Azimar? Do you not have them on this continent?
And he looks kind of confused, but the man in the military uniform kind of clears his throat and he means half gods. Oh, well, yeah, common folk. Unless Bluefield's been recruiting mercenaries themselves, no quarrel to pick with them.
Was the guy in the military uniform the one that was giving Grios a stink eye?
Yeah.
Well,
Are there any sigils on the military uniform?
I will say you've seen this uniform before. It is the uniform of the Emelian Empire.
Oh, okay.
well, I can only imagine how much a hefty price of someone who has met, let us say, has met Evo Rhaegar, or is a friend to any of the nobles.
You're trying to get at something here?
I am simply saying that in wars, it is not always two sides.
Seems like two sides to me. The side that's paying me and the sides that not.
How much are You know what? Let me look at my bank account in this game right now. Oh, never mind. I forgot I bought dragon eggs. Well, I can tell you this. The Goldshine Investigation Agency offers far more than 200 gold on signing.
He kind of thinks about it and glances to the others who just kind of shrug. And he, uh, we don't have the same sort of skill sets. We're made to kill, or not made, but we specialize in fighting people on our own level. The sort of things your people deal with is a little above our pay grade. And besides that, we've already signed the contract. It would be in poor taste to quit on it just because somebody offered us a higher price. Unless, of course, you're offering.
I like to Evron. And I will say,
Everyone looks at you.
Garrus's expression when he turns to Ivron is that of a individual who hasn't decided whether he wants to kill this person or steer this person in a better career path. It's like this guy's going to work for Chick-fil-A. Like,
How do we convince him to not?
exactly. And it is very much like this guy is going to die, and they're also dying for a cause that is, let's be honest, evil.
What
Kriya's
my
gonna-
brother
we'll-
was
we'll get her
trying
to
to
turn that
get
up.
at.
Can we pay him
Here's
more?
staring at it with me from. Grias is gonna look to the military guy. So, do you like killing goblins?
I do.
Yeah, you good at it?
I'm the best at it.
But you are. Keep any trophies? That kind of killer?
Don't make a habit of it.
Or soldier?
How old does this dude look?
The soldier?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to tell with the helmet and the uniform, but me looks like he's probably in his like 30s, 40s. Looks human.
Been doing
What's
it for a long
harvest killer?
time, huh?
Since I was a kid.
Why?
'Cause it's the right thing to do.
Why?
The gods put some things on this earth to be killed, and some things to do the killing.
What gods?
Take your pick.
Nah, you tell me.
Are we gonna have a problem, boy?
Don't call him boy.
I ain't a
He's asking you a
fucking
simple
boy.
question.
Set this true. We cast a ceremony spell. Z-A-R-M-N.
Legitimately. But no, he's
Inside.
asking a simple question. He's asking what God told you it was your divine right to murder.
I will have risen up from where I was sitting, polishing my blade at this point.
Don't fucking act like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about with fucking gods. I think I know a couple more intimately than you do.
Cleric, then.
Yeah, they like me. Do they like you?
Not dead yet.
You could be.
Is that a
Close
challenge?
about a second.
Do you want it to be a challenge? Call me boy one more fucking time.
I'd like to hold an action.
Everyone's
If-
gonna
But
place
we
a hand
don't even
on
know
his
your
top
name,
of his shoulder.
and we're talking about giving each other slightly veiled threats. What's your name?
Matt, mechanically, if he says boy again, I am using the Blade of the Fearless. Its effect for a 30-foot range. That is
Okay,
what
noted.
I am doing.
And he kind of stares at you for a moment, Utaka, and again, he he considers. You can tell there's definitely a consideration of possibly of possibly doing something, but eventually he, with a visible scowl, turns back to you, Griaz, and gives a distinctly Emilian military salute, and Major Payne of the Emilian army.
Major pain in my ass.
Major, uh, perhaps we are all getting off on the wrong foot here. We're all friends. There is no quarrel that we need to get into. No one has done anything wrong, is it? And he
I
looks,
think there
he
were already
looks
3
at
kills
Griaz and
Utaka
Utaka.
just a minute ago.
I'm just staring the dude in the fucking eye.
At your intervention,
Laughs.
Ivron, Major Payne does visibly kind of relax himself and turn to you. Of course. Sorry, Captain. Let my temper get the better of me. We're on the same side here.
Quite understand.
Which brings me back to my point. It seems to me that you are fighting the wrong fight.
How so?
I look to Ivron and I jingle my coin purse with like the back of my hand.
What my brother is alluding to, Major, and company, is that perhaps your talents, you underestimate them. They could perhaps be better used and better suited to solving problems rather than getting entangled in them. And as my brother stated before, the GSIA does pay quite handsomely. Look at his fine plate mail army. And I guess Ivron will do a persuasion check if need be.
I would like to
Yeah.
assist.
Yeah, they don't seem against the idea. They do seem interested. Make me a persuasion, advantage because of Garrus helping you.
Uh, 23. Well, with advantage.
They kind of look to each other. Again, there's visible consideration. And well, suppose hunting supernatural beasts ain't no different than hunting monsters, is it? Suppose
Not
it's
at all.
not. And they're in Veilbright. They know whose side they should be on.
Quite. If you'd like, you can give them my personal recommendation. I am Captain Ivron Blackmont of the GSIA.
Hold up, real quick. I'm sorry, bro. Goblins ain't monsters.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. They're folk, just like you.
They are not just like me. A person doesn't have claws and fur and hideous little teeth and eyes and the instinctual desire to pillage and steal from innocent good people of the world.
Start showing my pointy teeth.
How do the other people in his party? Because it's clear Sergeant
They look
Payne is the.
deeply uncomfortable.
Okay, so I'm gonna give them a look, and it's the look of. You can either walk away now. You can come over to our side, or you're gonna get caught up in something bad. It is a look of, are you willing to die for this asshole?
Oh, make an
Like,
intimidation check.
I would love to. You know what? I'm gonna use my last nat 20. For a total of, let's see, intimidation, 26. It is exactly... It's like in Game of Thrones, that one scene where they're like, are you willing to die for a chicken? This is literally Gaharis going, are you willing to die for some racist military guy that you probably just met over this brainwashed guy's opinion on people that just don't look like him? And, you know, they even have the Triton with them. So, like, I would look at the Triton and be like, who's next? The Triton? He's got beady eyes. He looks
They
like
all
he'd eat all of us.
They all kind of look to each other, and the druid is the first to pipe up, and she kind of gently nudges the Triton and come on, Michael, let's go somewhere else in camp, yeah? And the Triton kind of looks down at her and tilts his head, but stands up and lets her gently guide him towards you guys and away from Pain. And the crossbow wielder kind of rolls his eyes. And whenever Pain turns to look at him, whenever he stands up and kind of dusts the snow off of his uniform, just, you're on your own, man. And walks away as well. And the last one who hasn't spoken up yet, a kind of meek, skinny-looking guy, dresses in the same kind of robe-esque attire that Melvin does. You're guessing probably a spellcaster. Without hesitation, stands and kind of scurries away, leaving Pain standing by himself. He kind of shakes his head and rolls his eyes. And
How close is this dude to like everyone around him now? Like, give me a spell radius.
yeah, spell radius, you could say, yeah.
Would you say he is within a 10-foot radius of other people?
Nah, at this point,
Yeah.
like, unless Griaz has gotten any closer,
Yeah.
he's like.
I
he has some
definitely
distance.
think if we intend to take hostile action, we should all roll initiative to see who gets the jump on him.
No, because yeah, he seems like he's expecting a fight at this point. I'll say you're not gonna ambush him. But if you want to do like a kind of like subtle like social spell of some kind, then like I'm just saying you're not gonna be able to launch a fireball without him being given a fair
Right,
chance.
yeah, no,
to avoid it.
I just think if Griaz is gonna immediately charge this guy and snap his neck in the time that Utaka gets ready to cast, like, Shockwave. Or Thunder Wave.
Let me ask you just one thing, Pain. You're a killer. You enjoy it. You've been doing it all your life. That's fine. What's your favorite kind of goblin lord to kill?
It's a tough call.
What's the hardest one to kill?
The
Yeah,
hardest.
Goblins, they're kind of weak, but man, they're quick. Hobgoblins, they're smart. You know, bugbears, we're quiet. Big boys. You got a favorite? Or is it just goblin du jour?
Well, two different questions there. But the hardest one probably would have to be the trolls. The regeneration makes it a real pain to finish them off.
They count as goblins.
They're green.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means they're green.
Lots of fucking folk are green. They ain't all goblins.
Lots of monsters are green.
Dryads?
You ain't green and you're a fucking piece of work.
It's my workout routine. And dryads are monsters. But to answer the question of my favorite, it would absolutely have to be the titular goblins themselves. They scramble like cowards, scream and beg.
How far
Yeah, it's
away is he
weird when
from
you
me?
go after unarmed people, how they scream and beg.
They're armed, just not as well armed as me. Being
You
an-
like the begging ones? The ones that ain't fighting?
They fight, and then whenever it doesn't go their way, they beg. They're cowards.
So, no court are given?
They would give no quarter to us if the positions were reversed. I don't
That
see
ain't
them
fucking
taking
true.
quarter in this
Ain't
war.
we taking quarter in a fucking goblin tree?
That is true. They let us stay there during a storm for free.
In the
Then
hurricane, yeah?
And then when the human researchers were rescued, they provided all their materials and let them go on their way. And this was the Augur Bowman Corps, of course.
And these are the monsters that
They
he's
had
fucking...
more humanity than I can say for the Emilian Empire has ever had, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. That's about what I remember too.
Now, if I recall, Matt, who started this war? From
The Emelian Empire
Yeah,
instigated
okay.
it. The Emelian Empire, the Bobwin Sultanate, and the Undarian Duchy colonized Mazai when it was originally the monster's territory,
Yeah.
and started the Bluefield War. In fact, the name came from all of the individual monster nations coming together to fight the essentially settlers and conquistadors.
Yeah. It sounds like the Emelian Empire should have never stepped foot on someone else's land and declared it theirs.
It is our land.
Not for a
Nothing
minute.
else of substance was living here before we got here.
I would not be so certain. Cities and countries and empires collapse. It is only a matter of time.
Not as long as I'm still
And
standing.
I'm casting Hold Person.
And I think we're going to take a break there.
Sounds good. So we will be gone, let's say, 13 minutes. That'll put us at an even 11 o'clock. And then we'll be back to, maybe have the moral high ground in a fight for once.
Hey!
We're the heroes again. So we'll see you in
You
13.
guys picked a fight. We haven't even.
Hey, we stand for the little guy. Even when some of them are trolls and bugbears. But we will be right back. Get some water, stretch your legs, get some self-care. Maybe give yourself some hugs. Boop. And we're back! Ha ha ha! And you know what? Our latency issues got fixed.
Hey.
Almost like I made a warlock deal. Please bandwidth, don't cut out on me now!
Oh, you can't cut out on me now.
So anyways, they have to make me a wisdom saving throw.
Which they will freely do. I'm just gonna.
It is a DC, I think 15, but I might be lying. Hold person, DC 16 now.
I'll just go ahead and switch us over to combat music since I don't imagine this is gonna be a peaceful. All right, wisdom saving throw from Major Pain. Not a great roll. And what's the DC 16, right?
16.
Wisdom save. Just barely doesn't make it. He fails.
So I like to think he was like mid-rebuttal and just stops, and he literally cannot move anything except his eyes. And Harris just... It sure does feel so good to be so much more powerful than someone who is unarmed, someone who is surrendered, someone who is weak.
I ain't heard him surrender.
That is because I'm not going to let him right now. He is going to listen to what I have to say without opening his stupid mouth with his stupid opinions. If there is one thing I cannot tolerate, it is someone who judges not by the quality of anyone's character, but by the color of their skin, the horns on their head, the teeth they have in their mouth, their golden eyes, the appearance before the quality of who they are. Do you know why that is? It is because the people who do that are the ones that will follow any idiot into battle. They are not looking for solutions to bring a better day forward. They are looking to simply hurt others and to make the loudest noise they can. They are rushing headlong into death and don't mind who they take.
Why don't you let him talk?
I think at this point he probably gets to make another saving throw.
Yeah, he does get to make a one on each turn.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll say that. Yeah, like it's at the end of this. Yeah, with that he managed to. So as he like had fallen into the snow and just was staring up at you completely
I don't think he even
paralyzed.
falls. I think it literally magically
just
holds
freezes
him
you in place?
standing like as he was. It is
Okay.
like a magic, like someone force script you is how I imagine it. It's like they use the force script to like hold them like, oh.
Mm-hmm. As the grip relinquishes and he manages to pull himself free, he stares at all of you, and you can tell there's a moment of consideration. Is there something you're hoping to achieve, Devil?
Well, it would be far too hard to teach you manners, and it would be far too hard to fix that broken attitude of yours.
I want to get
But
just
not without
pretty much
hope.
right up in his face. So I think what you were supposed to understand in that moment right there, the edifying moment for you, was to feel what it's like to be helpless. Me and my friends here could have murdered you 10 times over in all sorts of creative ways in that brief period of time where you could do nothing to stop us. But we didn't. And the thing that you're supposed to understand from all that is that a monster is not what someone is, it is what they do. It is their actions that make them a monster. And you, Pain, are a monster. And you're going to go off to that war. You're going to think you're doing the right thing. And yeah, you might kill some goblins. They're going to kill you right back. Your time is sands in an hourglass, and they are just dwindling away. Every second you stay on this path, you're going to end up with a goblin arrow between your eyes, and no one's going to feel bad about it. I'm not saying this to change you, because I don't think you're going to change. But just in those split seconds, when you see the point of that arrow coming towards you, I just want you to remember my face. And I want you to remember that I will never think about you again. Nose turn and leave.
He visibly swallows and clenches his fists, and you can see the knuckles whiten as he watches you walk away.
I'm gonna watch him real long and hard while Griaz is walking away. Make sure he ain't gonna pull something stupid at my friend's back.
He stares at Griaz's retreating form for a long moment before silently turning and sitting on his bedroll and begins to busy himself with you watch him closely, but it seems to be genuine just maintenance of his equipment. But Utaka, you get the vibe that it's more keeping his hands busy while his mind wanders. On what, you don't know, but wandering nonetheless.
All his friends left him, right?
Yeah, they're standing with you guys now, and
Oh,
they
great.
look...
So there's like empty seats next to him.
Indeed.
Cool. I'm gonna go take one of them. I got some like daggers to sharpen. I haven't sharpened them in a while, so might as well just like do that right now, sitting like 4 feet from him.
All right. He kind of stares at you for a moment, but does not say anything further, busying himself with the maintenance and redrawing of a crossbow.
Sure. I can maintain my blades too.
Just in with
Help,
one small
new
act of
friends.
pettiness, I am going to cast Druidcraft and make it smell like swamp gas in his face.
All
Give
right.
a little pause part.
Crop dust.
Imran will move over towards the mercenaries and welcome them more so to our side of camp and say, "Come, my new friends, perhaps we can share a drink and discuss a more ample job opportunities if you're up for it. Our fire is warm."
One by one, they, seeming genuinely accepting and warm, begin to approach. The Triton is first, giving a wide, very unsettling shark tooth smile, and new friends, and kind of stumbles and toddles towards you. The druid kind of claps her hands together and approaches enthusiastically, and the crossbow wielder kind of smiles and claps the spellcaster on the shoulder and just, yeah, that job opportunities. Let's talk shop. And the two of them sit alongside the rest of you as well.
I would like to wave down Titanus, Billy, and John
Mm-hmm.
to sit with us as well. and introduce them. These are some of the employees we have hired. You might not believe this, but they were poachers at one point that we fought, and now they work with us rather than breaking the law.
And the sharpshooter kind of nods. How well does it pay? It pays about as well as anything else, I suppose. Certainly better than what we were making before. And they kind of like swap stories for a bit. The druid kind of, again, she looks very young, kind of like pulls her knees up to her chest, not seeming scared, more like enthusiastic, that kind of childish, like wanting a story expression and body language, and looks to you, Harrison. Is it true that you guys fight monsters? Like real monsters, not just goblins and stuff?
That is true. Everyone would be able to tell you of many of the foes we have faced. We once faced a animated castle. We've faced a giant stone statue that was animated. What else? What else have we faced?
Blue dragon.
The dragons that attacked Velbright. The
That was you that fought it.
Indeed, quite. In fact, this group here, they were quite brilliant. And then he would regale her with a tale, a kind of maybe not embellishing, but
the kind of storyteller's charisma of like making it interesting, which her and the Triton listen with deep enthusiasm. And you can swear you can even see the rat on her shoulder, like perched like this with its little legs kicking as they listen to the story. Is there anything you guys would like to do of note before night passes?
I'd like to check on Griaz.
Right. Yeah, when Griaz walked away, he just kept walking into the woods.
Yeah, right. I think after maybe like half an hour, Harris would go looking for Griaz.
Okay.
And would probably be like, Utaka, do you want to help? Or everyone?
Oh, yeah, yeah, sure. Let me just, like, here, finish this. I'm gonna sharpen and sharpen and be like, yeah, that looks fine. I'll put it back in my belt, and then I'll get up and dust myself off. Be good to go.
Feel free to continue with the drinking. We'll be back. And Imran would motion over to Israel as well to, like, maybe follow, get Harris as well.
All right. Griaz, since you headed off first, what are you doing?
He isn't trying to be, particularly stealthy or anything. He's not hiding his footprints. He's just walks off until he finds a good enough tree to sit against, and he sits against it, and he just grabs Junior as a shield and goes, "Hey, buddy, I kind of feel like crap right now. Can you mind turning it into a pillow?"
The shield kind of wiggles and takes the form of a fluffy, comfortable pillow.
He's just gonna hold it and just sit there for a little bit and just kind of sit, like he's trying to get far enough away that like the chatter of the camp can't be heard.
All right. And I will say it's not enough to disturb you, but this deep into the woods, the camp chatter has died down, especially getting late into the night now, but you do still hear that kind of ambient chatter in the forest. And now that you're deeper in it, and Gaharis, Israel, and Ivron, are you going as well? Or like, who all is going into the forest to find Griaz?
I think we all are. I think collectively as a party.
Yeah.
For once, we're not splitting up.
Ivron's letting Yao take guard of the camp, I guess. If that's a concern.
Okay. So you all start to notice it as you start heading in the forest too. In addition to that kind of ambient chatter, there's music. This kind of like playful, jaunty music. You can hear banjos, and the sound of like what Harris, you and Griaz, you recognize this for a fact. The sound of a jug being blown to contribute to the song. You still don't know the source, but you can definitely hear music along with the kind of ambient chatter.
Is this a type of scenario where Israel would be like, Faye?
Israel looks uncomfortable, but more bemused than anything. So
Okay.
it seems like she's a bit like it feels like she recognizes the similarity, but isn't as intimidated by it. Although whether that's because of her newfound power or like because of like the kind of like ridiculous nature of the music, as you wouldn't know this, but Israel typically associates them with horns and more like deep bassy sounds that like intimidate
Okay.
her. This is like jaunty banjos and jug playing. um that being said, Griaz, so you're just gonna chill against the tree for now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Alright.
especially because it's colder, and I think we established like mimics don't really like the cold.
Yeah.
He's telling himself that he's holding Junior close to keep him warm, but
Harris, Ivron, and Utaka, with Israel in tow, start making your way into the forest. I'll say, since Griaz wasn't going out of his way to be stealthy, snow, so there'd be footprints, and there's 3 of you, I'll say it's not particularly difficult. Griaz, you're out there for about, from what Harris said, about 45 minutes before you can hear crunching footsteps in the snow of the party approaching. If you want to change what you're doing before they see you. All right.
he's fine.
The 4 of you follow Griaz's footsteps and find the bugbear huddled up against the base of a tree, clutching a pillow and sans a shield to his chest, and the snow like thickeningly covering his bugbear fur. The night is quiet and cold. A silence broken only by the mysterious, distant instruments you're hearing.
Y'all didn't have to come out here. I was going to come back.
Yeah, but I like didn't want to kill him without you saying it was okay. So
Yeah, it's because it wasn't.
well, I mean, you like looked all like fucking stoic and cool as you were walking off, so I didn't want to like undermine that.
I know. It's thing is, no, don't get me wrong. I want to kill him too. Like people like that, they shouldn't just be. It sucks that people like that exist, you know. But I don't want to go around being judge, jury, and executioner of every asshole out there. When it comes
Even when
down
they're
to it,
assholes to you.
especially when they're assholes to me.
Why?
He was, because it ain't right, Utaka. I just if he had made the first move, then it would have been different. But if I had done anything, especially when Gaharis had him held there, then he would have been right. I would have been a monster. I would have been a coward who hit somebody when they were down and they couldn't defend themselves.
That is true. Perhaps we could not have. Perhaps we should have killed him. Perhaps not. But the fact that you had him helpless and chose not to wasn't to allow you to kill him. I know you could have killed him at any point, but to show everyone else that by your example, that he is wrong and you are right. And that is how you change minds.
And indeed, in your action, you proved worthy. A noble-minded, a calm and steady. Little people are fretting and fussing. That man, he was little. He does not represent, I hope, the rest of his people.
Well, what I'm hoping is that by doing that in front of everybody, I ain't gonna change his mind, but maybe I change one of theirs. It's always gonna be
I
bad.
believe that you did.
I hope so. Like I said, it just sucks. Sucks that there gotta be people like that. It sucks that they just get to walk around. It sucks that if you do anything about it, you drop to their level. And honestly, Garrus, you asked me a night or two ago about the people I killed before. Y'all know I got a sort of sordid past. And, I believe you asked me, Garrus, if I remembered all of them, and I think I told you no. That was a lie, and I apologize for lying to you. The thing is, I remember each and every damn one. And there's some nights when I see each and every damn one. And when it comes down to it, I just didn't want to see that asshole again.
Well, for what that's worth, I'm proud of you. And we are part of a team. And no, not a team, a family. And there's no other person I would rather have by my side. In a fight, in a bar, it doesn't matter where. Your home is wherever all of us are. Or at least you will have a home there.
I really appreciate that.
If someone messes with the tiefling, they get the horns. And if they mess with the bugbear,
What fucking bad joke are you about to make, Harris?
I was just going to say they get the horns again.
Oh.
Hey, you laughed at that one. Yeah. that's
Yeah,
good.
okay, fine. It was okay.
Yeah.
Israel smiles and just kind of sits down next to you, Griaz.
All right. Well, hey, folks, it's cold as shit. I want to go back to where the fire is. I'm not feeling good.
Also, who is playing that music?
I really don't worry about it.
Geharis, as soon as you say that, the music stops.
Do I see any movement?
Did we also have heard it and then hear it stop at the moment he says that?
Yeah, I mentioned that you guys could hear it whenever
Okay.
you were coming in to find Griaz. And Geharis, make a perception check.
Sure. Alright, one perception check at advantage. That one's cocked. First roll is a 7 plus 3 for 10. Next roll is a 13 plus 3, 16.
Looking around, you don't see any movement, but you do hear the very, very light trudging of snow. It sounds like it's going away from you rather than towards you, though, so it doesn't incite panic. It's more of just, like, concern.
It's like I ruined someone's party.
That sort of vibe, yeah.
Well, now I feel bad. So,
Harris Force is always going to have weird shit in it.
not this time. I thought I had a music box. Wait, I gave someone a music box.
Griaz will pull out his banjo that
Didn't
he pulled
I?
from the realm of nightmare.
Oh, and Hiroka, you mean the one you got from your dad, Geharis?
No, I thought I bought a music box way back.
I think you may have given it to
For a
Israel.
present
That's
for
what I thought,
somebody.
yeah. I couldn't remember.
And go ahead, Griaz. It sounds like you have a thing.
Yeah, he pulls out his banjo that he got from the Charles E. Cheddars. And he'll just, he's not really practiced much with it, but he'll just pluck out very slowly, try to just do a scale, I guess.
Make a performance check.
Okay. How bad am I at that? Hey, Matt, why do I get 20s on dumb shit?
You all watch as Griaz pulling out the banjo he had taken, I believe, off of one of the animatronics, correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
One of the animatronics he took off of the unsettling mechanical animals from Nightmare, and
It was a
with
bear, because he was a bear at the time. Yeah.
and get your banjo right, yeah. And Griaz kind of gives an experimental before going into a excellent like this excellent fast-paced banjo song, and there's a pause and you all start to hear the music pick back up more enthusiastically this time. Banjos join in with Griaz's tune. You can hear flutes, accordions, more jugs being blown. And you still don't see a source, but it sounds like it's coming from all around you.
I will pull out the monocle of true seeing.
Gaharis, it is your worst nightmare made manifest.
Gnomes.
Gnomes everywhere. The forest is full of gnomes, all of them playing instruments and dancing and having a great time. It's disgusting.
Well, it's been nice playing in this campaign, everyone. So sorry we're ending the stream now.
Oh, no.
But Matt knows what he did.
Yeah, okay, that's deserved.
No. So it is just gnomes?
Yeah, just gnomes having a party.
Is there any gnomes we recognize?
You, at a glance, you don't see
Okay.
any familiar
Okay,
faces.
there's not any eating off the floor. Got it. Okay. You see Gaharis' hands shake a little bit as he just puts the monocle away and gives a deep sigh and says nothing.
As you continue to play masterfully, it sounds like this hillbilly orchestra is rising up to join you in the tune.
Ron will ask Israel to dance with him. He'll do a little jig.
Israel kind of smiles and after a bit of thought joins you in doing a dance.
What the fuck you look like that for, Gaharis?
You don't want to know.
I don't?
You really don't.
Why?
Do you remember Terminus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't know there were forest gnomes.
Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Ugh. 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 Really? Like.
Yep, that's true. I didn't think they existed.
Like a forest of them? Like a lot?
They're everywhere.
No.
I just hand the monocle over. It's got 2 more uses today.
Utaka, if you wish to use up one of the uses, you hold up, and indeed, you see a party of gnomes. All these squat little gnomes just playing instruments and dancing and having a great time.
And so this is a monocle of true sight?
Indeed.
I would like to mutter some words very softly. We're in a forest, right?
Indeed.
So there are spiders here.
Most likely.
I would like to cast Giant Insect.
Do you know where any spiders would happen to be? Because I think you need to know where they
No,
are.
I don't. No, I don't.
Is it just you make, like, anyone nearby any spiders?
Yeah, that's how Giant Insect works. I don't have to know where they are. I've just flavored it that way in the past for, you know,
I just
flavor.
genuinely thought, because that's how a lot of spells work, so I genuinely thought you had to do that. Okay.
No,
I mean, there's
it's,
snow on the ground, right?
It's within 30 feet. Yeah, but even then, there would still be like.
Almost all spider species die before winter. I actually just Googled it because I didn't know. I was like, do they live?
Even then, there's like warmth over there, and we've been walking,
that's
and
true.
we've got like wagons, and other people have wagons, so like there would be a couple.
There's probably a few in Griez's fur.
Yeah, I'll say, yeah, between Griez's fur and the trees and, like, because they would have to, like, hide somewhere.
Biome.
Sure. I'll say that, no, not to you, to Utaka, so, sure. You cast your spell, and, yeah, it looks like it works on, three spiders. I'll say 1 from a nearby tree and 2 from Griez's fur. Spiders just suddenly engorge and become giant, and almost instantaneously the music stops.
And I whisper, chase them.
Utaka,
Uh-huh.
this is gonna be wild.
Yeah, sure.
Can you roll me initiative for the spiders?
Yeah, okay. Individually. All three of them individually.
I'll say as a collective if you want, just to make it easier.
18 plus whatever it is, probably like +2 at some point.
Alright, so yeah, you
Giant spider is a +3, a 21 for initiative.
looking through your true sight monocle, so the rest of you can't see this. Looking through your true sight monocle, Utaka, the gnomes do start to scatter, but not just running off into hiding like you expected. They all start pulling out crossbows and aiming them at the spiders. And all of you can hear as one of them pipes up, "Looks like soup tonight, Gin!" These are not forest gnomes. They are swamp gnomes. Spiders do win the initiative, though, so if you're going to have them fight, by all means, attack.
What am I doing? Yeah, sure. They're attacking my dear spider friends.
Yeah, well, what did they do?
Should I also be?
Are you gonna help?
I mean, they're attacking the spiders. No. The one that shouted, I would like to have the spiders swarm them.
All right.
What am I doing? Why are we doing this?
You're the one who started it!
I didn't think it would be a whole thing. I thought they'd like run away. I didn't think it would be like a combat.
They were just having a party in the forest!
In Weirdo Invisibility Land. Okay, so I guess I'll just start rolling to hit. Why the fuck not?
Yeah, go for it, sure!
Giant spiders to hit. Well, okay.
You just declare.
How is this going? Are they,
Well, so what have you rolled?
Well, I guess it depends. Are they rolling at disadvantage because the dudes are invisible, or?
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah, the spiders can't see them. I don't think spiders have a way to,
No, but I could,
This was how it was always meant to be. The BBEG of this campaign was just gnomes.
Yeah, right.
I
could also.
They do have 10 feet of blind sight, so.
Oh, they do have 10 feet of blind sight. Oh, they can just start pouncing on gnomes. Oh no.
Oh no?
Like, is this evident to anyone else besides Utaka? Like, is Griaz just playing the banjo, just like?
No, yeah. From
oblivious
your
to the fact that
perspective,
there's-
Griaz, like Gaharis looked terrified by something in the monocle, handed it to Utaka, who looked through it, and then immediately turned 2 spiders in your pelt into giant spiders, which are now running into the like surrounding snow and just like clawing at the powder.
You definitely would have made out me saying gnomes.
And then like 2 spiders erupt from Griaz's fur. What the hell are you doing, boy?
Harris looks
They're
just as surprised.
everywhere.
He's like, what is going on? Oh no.
Yeah, and I will say all of you heard the gnome's proclamation.
My
Okay, so if we heard the
involvement with them was
proclamation,
minimal at best when they were invisible. Now I have to actually deal with them.
I also know swamp, so we're talking call for your damn spiders. Listen here, Ken. We don't mean you a whole lot. Huh?
They're everywhere!
It's all right. It's okay. They're just having a little joke band get together. Ain't nothing wrong with that. A little bit of family.
Fine! I'm gonna start, like, snapping my fingers and, like, calling the spiders back. And one of them is, like...
Yeah, and Utaka, you can see the gnome, like, with the crossbow ready, like, just come on, come on! But as you call the spiders off, Griaz, make me a persuasion check.
And Ron stands there
Get together.
confused.
God, spider. Holy shit. Okay, I think he's actually having this persuasion. No, he's actually garbage at it. Okay, that's a 13.
There's a moment of consideration, and they don't reveal themselves, but the voice you had heard pops up. Well, get y'all and your EDP out of our land!
Well, we're just hanging out for us. Ain't nothing wrong here.
My Ken and I were having ourselves a little hootenanny. Y'all coming in, bringing in y'all giant spiders like you're gonna eat all y'all?
I know. I don't know what their particular grief is, but heck, we ain't trying to kill y'all's hootenanny. I was playing along with y'all. Y'all having a nice time.
Oh yeah, you're great.
Yeah, I don't mean nothing by it. I think they got a little scared. So they didn't know where y'all from.
Yeah, we gotta make sure we stay on the radar. It's a war zone out there. All the goblins coming into our swamp.
Oh, guys know. Hey, listen here. Y'all go back. You have your hootenanny. You enjoy your time here. What y'all do in the forest anyway? I thought y'all sound like you're from swamp. What swamp y'all from?
After there's a moment of consideration, and Utaka, only you can see them. They kind of look to each other and eventually just like, well, I guess there ain't much point with the fancy illusion work. Come on, Ken. And one by one, the gnomes begin to fade into view. Ivron, you see for the first time, you and Israel, that you are surrounded on all sides by easily like 50, 60 gnomes.
This looks like the worst day Harris has had in maybe this entire campaign. Maybe. And
Nice to meet y'all.
I just
Nice to meet y'all.
I just opened my palm for the true seeing monocle.
I will slowly, uncomfortably hand it back as I stare at the one that threatened to turn my spider into soup.
And now that everyone can see him, I will give him a description. You see they're obviously a gnome. They have deeply tanned and blistered skin, long, like messy, dark brown hair, covered in one of those like flat, like one of those like boatsman's caps is the best way I can think of it, like the little flat, like barbershop style ones, and a dark black color. And his suit is like filthy and wet, but actually decently tailored.
Perpetually wet, even in the snow. Yes.
I mean, snow's wet, so.
Yeah.
He kind of chews his lip looking up at you, Griaz, and kind of gives a bit of a shrug. Not no more. After our swamp up and went belly up, went all salty on us, we came to the Fleeting Forest. Best place we could find.
Y'all from Black Swamp?
Nah, Far Marsh. Oh, nice to meet some kin from the Black Swamp. Y'all's land holding up any better than ours?
As far as I hear, no. No,
And I'll say, Griaz, you would know that
but
the Far Marsh was the northern swamp that it was originally the land outside of Valebright that is now a salt flat.
right. Yeah, no, it's rough everywhere, man. I don't know what to tell you, but hey, we're trying to figure shit out. me and my friends here. I'm sorry about the smaller blue one over there. He acting like he know who his daddy is, and that's just it ain't right to you.
I actually ain't never met him.
That sounds like a lot of baggage to unpack that we don't have time to unpack here right now.
I don't know. I thought you were like talking about it.
You get in the swamp, you act like you know who your daddy is. Means you got your high britches on. Means like you think you know your big shit. Like your shit smells like roses. Yeah.
I mean, I am kind of big shit sometimes, but whatever.
Nah, yeah. Utaka, this is. I'm sorry, friend. What's your name?
He gives a bit of a smile and tips his hat to you. They call me Billy Jim.
Half expecting Dale Earnhardt, but yep, nope, Billy Jim works. Billy Jim, Utaka.
Yeah, sup?
Yeah. He's actually he's pretty neat. He can breathe underwater, so I'm trying to get him out the swamp before turns all salty and whatnot, and actually get him to experience a little bit of it. He's got some of the same stuff that we swamp folk do, lightning bolts and whatever else. But sorry to see you folk get pushed out here. It's rough being out.
Could be a sight for sore eyes. Million Empire lets us have our land long as we don't bother nobody, and we ain't bothering nobody no how.
Yeah, that's good to hear. You gotta keep your nose clean.
Well, and you can see one of the gnomes visibly
Yep, it's now dirtier for some reason. I want to look over to Gahar. How is Gaharis holding up in all this?
Gaharis looks like that family member that you really get saddled with at every family event because they think you're their best friend, and you cannot possibly fathom the resentment you have towards them. This is that very look. Gaharis is I have never had a positive experience with a gnome. There's never been a normal interaction with a single gnome I have met in the multitudes of gnomes I have met. This is Gaharis just being I don't have the mental bandwidth to deal with these type 5s right now.
Yeah, I'm
so he's
sorry.
just gonna sit there and stare.
I'm sorry, my kid and I got a little temperamental on y'all. I'll tell you what. Wanna come back to our shack for some broth?
Broth?
Broth.
It's good broth.
It's broth.
We can go turn down a warm meal with some kind folks such as yourself. You already met Utaka. I don't think my name's Griaz, and that shining white knight folk over there is Evron, and the very kind-looking blue-horned individual there is Gaharis, and the old lady right there. She good folk. That's Israel.
All right. Well, it's nice to meet all y'all, and if you would like to sample our hospitality, we got guests tonight, boys! And all the gnomes immediately start cheering, and immediately the music and partying resumes. And Gaharis, you have never felt so helpless and defeated in your life.
There's never been a time that I've not considered more using the Sword of Fear in the 30-foot radius to make everyone run away.
And I think that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Yeah.
Real quick, Grizz will just turn around. Swamp hospitality, folks. You ain't never had hospitality like swamp hospitality.
Oh my gosh, if Terminus could see us now. Alright, well, I want to know some things about all of you. So, before we leave tonight, I want to know who you are, where you can be found, and what are some projects you're working on, if any. I'll go last, because I get to sign off and I control the tech.
I guess I'll go first. I was Matt, your DM. I played everyone who wasn't the lovely party. I was a swamp gnome. I was a soldier. I was a druid. It was great. Um, if you want to see more of my DMing for a slightly less cooperative party, check out my Monday game under Locks and Keys on the Odd Tornado Productions YouTube and Twitch channels at 9:30 Central Daylight Time, featuring a party of globe-trotting treasure hunters trying to take the artifacts of the gods to open up a door that contains a treasure that's wealth is beyond measure. Uh, you can also find my Tuesday game of Black Ink and Blue Blood, featuring a party of nobles and squires and kings unraveling a political conspiracy that threatens Gaheris and Ivron's homeland several hundred years after the events of this campaign. And if you want to see my creative works without nat 20s and swamp gnomes to deal with, possibly, you can check out my webcomic Undercommon on Webtoon and Tapas, taking place in the same campaign setting, featuring one of the first goblins to ever become an adventurer. Uh, Check out Odd Tornado Productions Official on Tumblr to find uh, any more of my stuff I forgot to mention, or just stuff from other people that I am lucky enough to work with, like these fine folks here on Fridays. Um, and if you love my DMing and simply must experience it for yourself, I am putting together a party for a weekend paid game. Um, uh, the Feast of Judgment, taking place in the campaign setting, but far in the future, where technology is advanced, armies have gotten larger, and adventurers find themselves slowly becoming irrelevant. So, I think that's about it from me. So I'll pass it to Griaz. You do some cool stuff.
Everybody, I am Derek Sword. If you want to find me and more of the projects I do, best place is Twitter at dsword16. I am taking kind of a hiatus from DMing and playing, except for on Graham's channel for a month or two, probably until 2022. We'll see. Holiday season gets busy, and I just started a new job. But until then, you can find me here exclusively on Graham Cracker's channel. I am here, of course, every Friday for Goldshine. I'm also here every other Tuesday, including next Tuesday, joined by, of course, the lovely Graham and Pharaoh for Shards of Anarion, where I play a Knoll Ranger named Verban. I am also the co-host of the podcast Monster Crush. So if you enjoy monsters as much as I do and think they're really cool to learn about, and also that they'd be really fun to smooch, check out Monster Crush wherever podcasts are found. Again, that show is also taking a hiatus right now, but there is a lovely backlog of episodes where you can learn about all sorts of cryptids, creatures, and miscellaneous abominations, and learn about like their stories and their lore, also like how hot their butts are. Yeah. Um, so that I believe is it for me. I'll pass it off to Farrell.
Hey friends, I'm Pharaoh. You can catch me here every Friday and every other Tuesday, along with, as our dear Derek Sword just said, with Verban, the Knoll Ranger, and our lovely GM, Graham Crackers. On those Tuesdays for the Shards of Narian, I play Sindra Starmini, Leonin, Warlock Paladin, who throws javelins at her patron and is a soul survivor of a race that's been gone for several hundreds of years. It's fun times and mildly tragic. Um, Aside from that, you can find me on Twitter, and aside from that, you can't find me feckin' anywhere. So I'll see y'all next week, twice. And off to you, Jeremy.
All right, thank you. Hello, everyone. As it was stated, my name is Jeremy, and I have the pleasure of playing with these fine folk as Ivron Blackmont, the Protector Asimaro of the Devotion Paladin. And this is the only place you can find me. I am Graham Cracker's exclusive. You can only find me here at 8 p.m. Eastern every week on a Friday. Um, I have no projects or nothing else that I'm working on or involved in, fortunately or unfortunately, depending how you feel about me. Either way, I appreciate you all for joining us tonight, and I will now pass it off to our wonderful host.
Hello,
Graham.
everybody. My name is Graham, or Graham Crackers. If this is your first time tuning in, we are all about playing games with friends, whether those are MMORPGs, dice games, TTRPGs, or video games. We just like to have fun here. We are always looking for new friends on the internet. It is troubling times, and the times are tough, but things are less tough when you have friends to help lift the burden. So, we hope that you come and see our other shows. Every Tuesday, I am here DMing. You know what? Let's dial it back. What's that song that move it back now, y'all? Doop a doop boop. On Mondays, we have MMORPG Mondays, in which I and several other of our wonderful, wonderful internet friends play MMORPGs, whether that is Guild Wars 2, Final Fantasy 14, or any other MMORPG that tickles our fancy. We like to show it off, have some laughs, and just have a good time. On Tuesdays, I DM Shards of Anarian at 7:30 Eastern Standard. Sorry, Shards of Anarian at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, and Anarian's Rest at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard, every Tuesday, where they cycle in the homebrew world of Anarian, where I get to make my players cry, and it feels real good. Very cathartic. Outside of that, you can find me here every Friday in this wonderful campaign of Goldshine Investigations. But every Saturday, or every other Saturday technically, you can find me on Polished Cryptid's channel, where I am playing in High Seas Hijinks, a nautical-based campaign, where I play Mavrin Manados, a cursed pirate, well, former pirate, now working on a pirate ship for no pirates. It's very weird. We're gonna fight an aboleth, maybe. Or maybe I'm a warlock patron of an aboleth. It's very confusing. My character has an 8 perception, so I literally don't know what's going on. But I am always looking for new projects and new friends, so I hope that we get to see you all again very, very soon. And we are going to raid our good friends, Faeforge Academy. And, Steven is doing some editing for their lovely, lovely podcast. So let's spam some Graham love in the chat, maybe some hello, and say, "Hi, Steven. Make sure you get some sleep tonight." Because, it's hard to care and take care of yourself, but it's easier when someone reminds you. So we are going to go raid them. Hope you tune in soon, and we will see you again very shortly. I speak from the bottom of my heart. I love you, and I hope you stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. So bye for now. We are going to raid them and head on out.